Is this thing on?
Bunnie, who used to be a former sex worker and now hosts the podcast Dumb Blonde.
Most little girls grow up wanting to be doctors and lawyers and shit. And I was like, I want to be super hot, make a lot of fucking money, and be a rock star's wife. That was my goal as a child. And here we are.
What's up, you sexy motherfuckers? Welcome to another episode of Dumb Blonde. Today, I am super excited to have my guest here because she absolutely fascinates me. And that's very rare because people don't fascinate me too much. But I am so curious about this woman, Miss Gabbi Tuft. How are you, baby?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to be here in Nashville. Oh my God. I love it.
Dude, did you get a chance to go down on Broadway?
No, I was so excited to just look out the window in that beautiful Airbnb and just kind of enjoy everything. There were like party buses going by and all the kids were just dancing and stuff. So I was just kind of being a fly on the wall.
It's a lot down there.
It is. I was down there before with WWE at the arena several times.
Oh, okay, but Bridgestone.
Yeah, at Bridgestone.
Gotcha.
And so I've been there, but it was just nice to watch from like a different perspective.
Yeah, that's crazy. And to come back in a different time in your life too.
Oh, yeah, slightly different. One or two things have changed.
Yeah, we're going to definitely dive into that. But like I was telling you before you came on the pod, or before the pod started recording, I love what you represent online.
Thank you.
I'm into people who are just true to themselves and tell their story, and whether people like it or not, you know, and I love that about, you know, I think that's what grabbed me about you is I came across one of your videos one time and you were just pretty much like, yes, this is, I used to be a fucking alpha male WWE wrestler and now I'm a beautiful, gorgeous woman. But you do it with such grace.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of people don't do that. And I just love that about you.
Thanks.
So I started following your journey and I was just like, this woman is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of the people in the community, they tend to, I think we get a lot of people on the defense.
Yeah.
And I think it's the majority, honestly. They're on the defense so much.
TikTok in general is on the defense.
God, it's crazy. People are just so easily offended.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's kind of like a snowflake.
Yeah.
And I took the other road. I think it's because I used to stand in my boots and underwear in front of like 10,000 people multiple times a week. With, you know what it's like to stand in front of a crowd
naked. Absolutely.
I'm literally naked in boots and underwear. My job was to get booed at. Like,
I can definitely relate.
My job was to have people hate me. So I'm like, okay, well, no problem. I can handle it.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a fucking awesome way of looking at it, though. Like, my job was to have people hate me. I love that.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, well, why be offended at everything? You know, like there's no need. I'd rather just educate.
I feel like our generation is so much tougher than the generation below us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're like so thick skinned because you and I are around the same age. So it's like,
Right.
we're so thick skinned. We're like, motherfucker, bring it, you know?
Oh, totally.
Whereas,
I'm the same way. I'm like, whatever. I used to ride a bike without a helmet and drink from copper hoses. I'm still here. I'm
dude,
fine.
my parents put me on a bike without a helmet and sent me down a hill. And fucking, I plowed into the back of somebody's fucking boat, dude.
No, you didn't.
That's how I learned how to ride a fucking bike.
Oh my God.
We are not the same.
No,
I'm
we are
just
not.
kidding.
I remember the day I got my first bike. It was way too big for me. I wanted this like rattlesnake looking bike. I think it was like a Diamondback. My dad got it for me and he ran me down the street and just let go. And I mean, it's a cul-de-sac. I'm like, well, what kind of harm could I get into? Of course, I crashed and hit the curb and had scratches everywhere.
But that's how we learned.
Yeah.
We got the fuck back up and we did it again.
Yeah, there were no knee pads, no elbow pads, no gloves.
We didn't go cry in the fucking in our rooms and fucking get depressed and shit, you know? Like that was it was a different time, a different era.
Brush off the blood, pack it with some dirt, keep going. You know?
We used to drink our own blood. Like
I remember.
Do you remember that? Did you ever do that, Mimi? You didn't ever did blood packs with your friends or like drink?
I didn't do that. But
all
like,
right, well maybe I was into witchy shit as a kid already, dude. So shit got really.
Wait, what was the blood pack?
So you would prick your finger with your best friend and you guys would rub your fingers together and do the blood and then you would lick it.
My mom warned me about that. As it came up.
Yeah.
My mom's like, "This is how you get diseases. This is how you get AIDS." I'm like, "What is it?"
Maybe
AIDS?
that's
She's
what's
like,
wrong
Don't
with
worry
me.
about it.
Listen, I've been into witchy shit since I was a kid and didn't even know it.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
So I did a lot of research on you last night, and one thing that I saw that was missing from Google was them kind of like humanizing you. They pretty much, you're a WWE star that is transitioning, and that's every headline says that. And I just feel like I want to get to know the woman behind the transition, behind who you used to be. Like, I don't even know like where you grew up or like anything like that. So can you kind of take me?
I don't know if your listeners are ready for this shit.
Oh, they're ready. They are ready. Everybody is so excited you're coming on. I've had a lot of people hit me about it because you've been talking about it.
Yeah, I was talking about it ahead of time. Like, this is something to be excited about. And it's Bunnie. I'm like, let's do this.
I love you.
No, I love you. I love everything you guys do. I love your story too.
Thank you.
So where do you want to start? You want to start with my childhood?
Yeah. Like, so where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I was born in San Francisco.
Oh,
I was born
nice.
at Kaiser in San Francisco.
I fucking love Frisco.
Right?
They have the best food.
Oh my God, the food's amazing. It's changed a little bit since I was a kid, but I mean, it's still a fun place. I was born in San Francisco, raised in the North Bay, so I lived in Sonoma, kind of Napa area.
Okay.
Most people don't know where Sonoma County is, so I always say, "Oh wait, what?"
I moved here from Fairfield.
Stop, girl. Okay.
Husband worked in Napa and all that.
Oh my God. So
We're all West Coast girls.
I love that. So Priscilla, my soon-to-be ex-wife, who's still my best friend, she grew up in Calistoga.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I grew up in Hollister, so that's south.
Okay, I know exactly where that is. Yeah, so I grew up in Roanoke Park and Sebastopol on the way to like Bodega Bay. That's where I grew up. And my dad was a car salesman. He sold cars for 30 years, and he was really good at what he did. A phenomenal parent. My mom was a real estate secretary. She was a real estate assistant, and I had one brother, 5 years younger than me. But my parents were awesome. My dad had so many opportunities at finance manager and management at dealerships, and he always turned them down.
Aww.
And I never understood why. And I asked him, and he said, it's because I didn't want to work bell to bell and never see my family. And so he gave up huge amounts of money to spend time with his boys and his family at the time. So every Friday, my dad would pack up his truck in the summer, and we'd leave the house at about 5 a.m., and we'd take my grandfather, my brother, and I. And sometimes my mom would go, but a lot of times just like boy stuff. And we'd go to the lake, and we'd go fish and water ski all day long. We come home and take the fish, skin them, and have dinner, or what do you call it, clean them, and have dinner with the fam. And then we take these big 2-week vacations, and we go up to a different lake with my mom and everybody, and we just go hang out for 2 weeks. I had a wonderful, like really wonderful family life growing
That's
up.
amazing. I did not. So it makes me jealous to hear stories like that. I'm like, that's so beautiful.
I was lucky. I was really lucky. You know, kids grew up in households where people screamed and yells, and there's a lot of abuse. I didn't have any of that.
You had
My
no
folks were great.
trauma.
They pushed me to do the best I could, and they were kind of a little on the strict side, but nothing that's out of the ordinary. They were only strict because they cared.
Right. Well, and because we, like I said, have grown up in a different time where, you know, parents got to punish their kids and didn't get in trouble for it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't think I was ever spanked. I should have been. I absolutely should have been spanked. I remember this one time I was living in Roanoke Park. We lived there till I was 10 years old. And I left my bike down the street. And my mom goes, your dad's coming home. He's going to park in the garage. Where's your bike? Oh, I left it down the street at so-and-so's house. She goes, well, go get it. And so I'm running out the garage. I must have been 8 or 9 at the time. And I'm running down the driveway, and I just go, oh, shit. And I hear this, Gabriel.
oh,
And I'm, oh, what? You know, you stop dead in your tracks. And it's just like, oh, God, what happened? And my mom goes, what did you say? And I said, shoot.
you're like, I said, shh.
I said, shibba nothing. And it went back and forth. And I stuck to my story. I said, shoot. I said, shoot. I said, shoot. And finally, my mom's just going, pick a brush. I'm like, no, like the paddle on the brush. She's like, your father's going to spank. I'm going to tell him. And I cried and I cried and I cried. I'll never do it again. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And my dad's home and I'm crying. And she goes, shh, don't say anything. What? And she totally let me out of it. She didn't tell my dad. She looked at me and she's like,
she just wanted to scare the shit out of you.
And she did.
Yeah.
Oh, she did. I never cussed in front of her again.
But you learned your lesson, and that's all. That's what she wanted.
Yeah. No, I still kept cussing, just not in front of her.
Right. So as a child, did you struggle with your sexuality or like have, you know, any of that? Like,
I did.
Okay.
It was interesting, and I didn't have any context for what it was. Again, you and I are very similar in the generation that we grew up in. No cell phones.
Right.
No internet. There was no way for me to understand what was happening.
Frisco is kind of like a gay capital, though, isn't it? Like, isn't there
the
a lot
Waldorf
of
Tunnel, which is now I think it's the Robin Williams Tunnel with the rainbows on it.
right?
You know, we go to Fisherman's Wharf when I was younger. My dad would take us out to dinner, and we'd see the rainbow tunnel. We're like, oh look, rainbows.
Yeah.
We had no idea what it meant. You know?
Right. Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if like maybe there was an influence because of the city or
No. It was literally, you know, like I said, my dad worked at the car dealership. He didn't get home till 4:30 some days. My mom was that real estate secretary, and so I was the first one home from school. My brother didn't get off till 3:15, 3:30, something like that. And so I would spend that short amount of time. I would just kind of wander to my mom's closet and try on her clothes, and I would just hang out like this feels right, but petrified I was going to get caught. You know, so it was years of this. Years and years and years of this. I always had more girlfriends than guy friends. I had girls' toys, which, you know, my dad kind of was all, you know?
Yeah.
I had He-Man and Star Wars and things like that too, but I loved My Little Pony. I loved Barbies. I wanted a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yeah.
So damn bad when they came out. Remember like the craze?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had all of them.
I had
And then the
one.
Garbage Pail Kids came out.
Oh, I loved Garbage Pail
Me
Kids.
too.
I was not allowed to have them though.
Yeah,
They were
me either.
So trashy.
Because they were so trashy,
Yeah.
right? And
My-
look at me now. I'm like queen of
could be-
trash over here.
We should start like Garbage Pail Kids 2.0.
Right.
It would be us now in
Dude.
our 40s.
It would probably sell though if we started something
sure
like
it
that.
would.
That would be amazing.
You see Bunnie Xo as a Garbage Pail Kid.
Oh my god, all of us, all the TikTok creators as Garbage Pail Kids. That would be
Oh my
so
God.
fucking hilarious.
Garbage Pail Moms now.
Yeah. Oh shit. Damn it. Why do we got to get that title?
I know somebody take a note. We gotta look this up later
Yeah,
and make
for
this
sure.
happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had this short amount of time to be, you know, feel comfortable about who I was.
Do you
and
think were you scared that your parents were gonna like be mad
petrified.
at you?
Petrified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your brother know?
No. Oh no. Nobody knew. Nobody knew until I was just about ready to transition.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
okay.
that deep, dark
That's
secret.
gotta be heavy.
It was because as a guy, you know, I watched my friends get the crap kicked out of them if they acted feminine in any way, shape, or form. They're not even gay, just if you acted feminine, if you held your hand in the wrong way, you know,
Right.
those kinds of things. They were ostracized. We played games like Smear the Queer.
Right.
And
I remember that.
Remember that? It was just, you know, not to act feminine. And so it was breaking every rule of being a male at that age. And so I hid it. Deep, dark secret.
Wow, that's really heavy to have to carry, especially as a child.
It
all
was.
throughout your life.
It was. I was always scared I was going to get caught. And then I buried it. There was just a point when I just, okay, I'm just going to bury this.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. And that's why I feel like, you know, women such as yourself, I feel like you guys maybe can't. If I came back in another life, I would, as a male, I would totally transition because I
Yeah?
love being a woman, you know? So I think maybe a lot of people that do transition are reincarnated souls, you know?
I've thought a lot about that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been a woman in a previous life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. You carry it well.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you actually, I'm looking at you and like, I would never be able to tell that you've transitioned.
Just don't think I'm a man hand.
Oh, stop it. I love when you say that online. I think it's
ongoing
so
joke. I'm like,
funny.
let me hide these things. There are some things that you cannot change, especially transitioning late at life. And that's the thing I've learned. You know, you start this transition going, I think I can do this. Okay, I know I can. And then it's surgery after surgery after surgery until you get to a point where you go, oh, there isn't a surgery to make me shorter. And there isn't a surgery to widen my hips, like my hip structure, aside from the BBL. And I can't shrink my hands. That ain't going to happen. So you better start loving who you are real quick.
Absolutely. Take me through high school. How was high school for you? Was that pretty torturous or did you excel?
Every kid hates high school to an extent. I
Right.
think.
Yeah. No,
I
we have a
mean-
15-year-old, so trust me, I get it.
Yeah. How old?
15.
Oh, so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew going through it.
Yeah.
I was a nerd. I was a 4.0 GPA student. I was
Wow.
this skinny, scrawny little kid, and I didn't have many friends. I had like 4 friends, and we hung out on the quad. If 1 or 2 of my friends were missing that day, we were screwed. You know, it sucked. And I got picked on for being a straight A student. So I ended up wandering the halls a lot, acting like I had something to do so people wouldn't know that I didn't have any friends.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucked.
I hate that.
I hated high school. It really sucked.
Yeah. Why do you feel like you were such an outcast?
We moved from one city to the next, from Roanoke Park to Sebastopol when I was 10.
Mm.
And it was right at the end of 5th grade. And I had a decent amount of friends in elementary school. I was doing just fine. But when I got to this new school, suddenly it was different. I didn't know anybody. They all had their established friends. And for whatever reason, I struggled making friends. Everybody wore different clothing. It's kind of like a hippie town compared to where I was. And so my clothes didn't match. Everybody played soccer instead of baseball. I couldn't kick a soccer ball if my life depended on it. I try to kick it at the person, would go right and smack another person in the face.
Yeah.
So I was last to be picked for every game. Everybody made fun of me, and I don't think I ever recovered from it.
Aww.
Yeah, and that carried right into junior high.
Sensitive soul.
What's that?
I said you're just a little sensitive soul.
I am, yeah.
You're a water sign, right? You're a Scorpio.
I am a Scorpio,
Yeah.
yeah. I am a Scorpio stellium. I have
Nice.
9 planets in Scorpio.
Wow. You're like the ultimate fucking Scorpio.
I'm deep, yeah. And they're all in the house of self.
Are you very sexual?
Am I very sexual?
Yes.
That's interesting because I used to be.
Right.
I used to
As
be
a male?
as a male.
Okay.
Oh yeah, when I was a guy, I was hypersexual, and Priscilla and I had great sex, like hours and hours. Like our quickie was like an hour.
Yeah.
But now, I don't have a libido.
Really?
It's like dead. If you get my motor running, then yeah, I'm good. You know.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's the hormones, has a lot to do with it. But honestly, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there's more than just the physical involved now.
Yeah.
Estrogen's a hell of a drug, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's more emotional for me than anything. And now that I'm into guys are gross.
Thank you. I say that all the time on this podcast. People got to think I'm a man hater because I'm just like, dudes are fucking gross
They are
all the
so
time.
gross.
They're hurtful too.
And
it's
they're
like,
hurtful.
Yeah.
I've been through all that. But it's like, if I'm going to get my head down there in that area,
Yeah.
and, things are going to happen. And
Yeah.
there's going to be
Fuck
smells.
my mind first before you fuck my
please.
body. Yeah.
Like, I really got to like what's going
Yeah.
on. So
No, I'm the same way. When I was younger and I wanted to get it on with somebody, I was like a dude. I was like, come on, let's fuck. We're going to fuck. And I'm leaving. I'm not going to talk to you afterwards. Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't one
don't
of those
touch me.
girls.
I'm gone.
Now, oh my God. The thought of sleeping with somebody is like, I can't, it just
Yeah.
could never cross my mind. Like, I'm just like, there's so much that I has to go into it, you know?
Yeah,
That's why I'm
and-
thankful that I'm married, you know?
Oh God. And so like, I really desire to have a partner, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it's long term or when it's going to happen. But I've done the hookup thing. Like,
Yeah.
I've been on Grindr many times, which is a shit show in itself. Oh my God.
I feel like dating apps are a fucking nightmare.
They're horrendous.
I have a dating app story. Fucking,
please tell.
This was a long time ago, you guys. This was back when Match.com was cool.
Oh, I tried not. Jesus.
And I met one of my friends. He's amazing. I love him. I'm not going to say his name because in case he listens to this podcast, but he's still a friend to this day. But I had met this guy and he was super cute. Met him on fucking Match.com. I go to his house. I'm like, cool, I'm just going to fuck this dude and leave, because I used to be a fucking little savage.
I love that.
And me and this dude are getting it on and he's like, I can't come unless I'm in my closet.
No way.
And I'm like, huh? And
What?
he's like, let's go into my closet. And I'm like, okay. So we go into his closet, shut the door, turn the light off. And he's like fucking me on his closet floor and finishes. And I was like, so are we going to have to do that every time we have sex? He's like, yeah, it's just something I've done since I was a kid. And I'm
You've
just like,
gotta be kidding
no.
me.
And that was my experience with Match.com. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to meet any more dudes off fucking Match.com. I'm done.
I can't right now.
Yeah. So that's do you have any Grindr stories?
Oh, I've got horrendous Grindr stories. Oh my God. Where do
give
I
me one.
start?
Oh, give me the best one.
The best one. Okay. Let me wipe my nose. It's running.
Sorry.
Okay. There's okay. I'll tell you the best one There's two. But
Oh, let's hear him.
okay, so the first one was my very first hookup ever.
Yeah.
My wife and I are still together. She's still living at the house.
Which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah, we had freed ourselves to see other people. As long as we didn't bring back the house at that
Yeah.
time, we're like, everything's good. And so I'm out with my friend Jocelyn, who is another trans woman. We're at this little wine bar, and I'm just like, girl, I need to just fuck a guy and get it over with. And she goes, get on Grindr. I'm like, what's Grindr? And she goes, looks at me like, what do you mean, what's Grindr? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been married for 20 years. I haven't dated. I don't know what's going on. She, give me your phone. And so she created an account for me. And this is before anything was happening, where I was like very public about me dating other people. I'm like, nobody can know. She's got a fake profile, no problem. And in 5 minutes, she's got a guy on the hook. And she's like, oh, I fucked him. He's awesome. He's got a big, she's got a big old dick. He's safe. He's 6 foot. Oh, this is perfect.
I love
I'm all,
her.
is that a good thing he's got a big dick? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I don't know. This is like, I've never been with the guy. I've kissed a guy once. And then that was post
So
transition.
this was your first. So okay, let's stop you right there. So all through high school, WWE, you had never been with a dude.
No, and no desire to.
No desire
Oh,
to.
I thought, like the thought of being with the guy, I'm going to open this,
Yeah, go ahead,
this
baby.
water here. The thought of being with the guy pre-transition, I wanted to throw up at the thought of
Wow.
it. Yeah, and I wrestled dudes in boots and underwear, and I'm just like, bro, you stink. Go put on some deodorant. You know, something like that, but
Yeah.
never like, we do some weird shit in wrestling
Yeah.
where our heads are in weird places, but
Yeah.
never once was it like, huh.
Never
and, like,
attracted to men until after you decided to start transitioning.
Never once.
I cannot wait to dive into that. That's amazing.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. So we run home, and I tell Priscilla, I go, look, Jocelyn got me this hookup. She goes, oh my God, tell me about it. Let me see him. So she's all excited.
I love that.
And her and Jocelyn are looking at this guy like, damn, he's hot. And he's really big and built. And so I go shower, and I come out with like all these outfits, and they look at me, and Jocelyn goes, girl, no, this is a hookup. Don't get dressed up for him. I'm like, what? Really? She goes, yeah, go put on some shorts and a tank top. I'm like, oh, okay. So I put on these like little tiny trash shorts and a tank top.
We love trash.
Yeah, I was the next two, the stories are going to blow your mind. Speaking of trash. So I go drive out, and I meet this guy. I've got like minimal makeup on. It was back when I was still wearing wigs, pre-facial surgery. And I'm, 220 something pounds of muscle still. And I knock on this guy's door. It's his apartment. And he is handsome.
Aw.
Like handsome. I'm like, ooh, stunning blue eyes, shaved head, bodybuilder.
Just
I'm
hot.
like, wow. And he gives me a hug, and he's like, hey. I'm like, hi. And he just starts walking to the bedroom. And I go, oh.
Let's get to the point.
Okay, this is what we do. Cool. I guess we just go in there. And he sits down. He's kind of just making some chit chat. And he starts undoing his shoes. And I'm, okay, I start undoing my strappy heels that I'm wearing. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's what we do. And I go, look. My girlfriend said not to say this, but I got to be honest. I've never been with a guy before. And he looks at me and he goes, what? I said, yeah, I've never been with a guy before. And he goes, wow, okay. And he goes, well, I'm going to tell you something. You were honest with me, I'll be honest with you. He says, I've only been with one trans woman. And I go, oh my God, it must have been Jocelyn. Because, she fucked him, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And he goes, it was like 2-3 years ago. And I looked at him, I'm like, what? Oh, you're lying to me. Okay, you're hot, I don't care. So that was at that moment I go, okay, guys lie all the time. He's totally lying to me.
Yeah.
He wants us to go down. I don't give a shit. And so we kind of are like getting things undone. And I look at him like, hey, I don't even know your name. And he goes, do you want to? I looked at him. I said, nah. And I just took my shirt off. I took my pants off. Let's go. So we get down to business, and things are going my direction. I'm like, this is good. And
In that, can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
In that moment, do you decide to be a top or a bottom, or how does that, or did he decide for you?
So my desire is always to be a bottom. I wanted the female experience.
Right.
I was so used to just being the alpha male and picking, up my wife and throwing her around which direction I wanted to.
Right.
I wanted to have that other experience.
Yeah.
And he actually crawled back on the bed at one point, and he goes, so do you want to fuck me now? I'm like, oh. okay, I guess. And so I put the condom on, and as I'm putting it on, I'm just noticing like the life leave my little she stick, you know?
Oh no.
And I go, oh, uh-oh.
You're like, now you found what turns you on and what doesn't.
Oh, instantaneous, like.
But do you
And-
think it was because you were nervous, or you just weren't attracted to that?
No,
to the
I
butthole?
think it's I actually gave it a shot with like the wet noodle. It just was not
Have you
working.
ever tried to put a limp dick in something? It does not
Does
work.
not, especially a butthole. Girl, it's like
That shit is so tight too. I couldn't imagine.
unless that guy had a fist up his ass, it was not going in. And I can
Yeah.
tell you right now, it was not going in. I don't think
Yeah.
he'd done that before. So I just made up something real quick. I'm like, it's the hormones. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. We didn't get down to actually him fucking me
Right.
because I was way too nervous. I was going to paint all over him and just shit on the bed. I'm like, I can't.
I've had poop balls fall out before.
Oh, God.
It's the worst.
My worst
It
nightmare.
is the worst. Let me tell you, it is the worst. They look like little M&Ms.
Just little cookie dough batters on
Yeah.
the bed.
Yes.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
But at one point, you know, I'm going down on him, and I'm kind of doing my thing. And this is my first time doing this, right?
Right. So
And
you'd never sucked a dick before.
never.
Did you think you were
and
doing a pretty good job? I mean, you had
so
one.
I
So.
asked him. I said, if I do something wrong, tell me. He's like, no, don't even. I'm oh, okay.
Yeah.
And at one point he goes, so yeah, my ex-girlfriend, she used to make me put her stockings on her on me, and I just was like, what? You know? I was just all,
Not the dick coming out of the mouth.
I just looked at him and I was all, I tapped his chest at that point, and I'm all, be careful. That's how I got started.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, no, it's nothing like that. And in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, in about a year, you're going to be coming to me asking what dose of estrogen you should have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he finished up and you know, brings me a wash rag. I'm like, oh, so that's what that feels like. Okay, let me just,
The
let me
worst.
just towel off here.
Yeah.
And he basically shoos me out the door. I'm like, wow.
You're like, this is how it feels for girls.
Literally, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is what it feels like to be not like just to be something that is a means to
An
end.
object.
An
Yeah.
object that literally I go,
Objectified.
okay. So that was item one. Item two, it was another Grindr hookup. This guy was chasing me for a couple months, but he was the bad boy, and he told me ahead of time. He goes, look, I'm not going to treat you like a princess. I'm going to tell you what a fucking whore you are and what a terrible, you know, I'm going to slap you around. I'm like, okay.
Oh, God, that is my favorite.
At the time, I'm like, I really want this experience, but I'm
I
scared.
love you because she's so cute. She's like, I want this experience.
I literally, it's like being a teenager again.
Yeah.
Like you start hormones.
It's just all new to you.
You go through a second puberty.
Yeah.
And I'm 42 as this is all happening. And I
Yeah.
literally had a summer of being a teenager.
Right.
But, you know, as a born woman, as a natural born female, you have a lifetime to experience this.
right.
That comes in a natural course of things. I had a compressed experience. It was
Right.
very quick. I got it all out of my system in like a year.
Yeah.
So I would have these experiences, I would process them and sit with them for a couple of days and go, okay, I want more of that, or okay, I understand that now, and next, please.
I love
But
that you're so analytical about it though and can separate, you know, like
I find that I needed to. It was out of necessity to try to find out where I was in life. And, you know, I like to think that I do better now, but here I am sitting in a crop tops.
Oh, listen, I wear crop tops every day.
Thank you
You're
for
good.
making
You
me
got
feel
this,
better
baby.
about this. So this one day I hit up this guy. My mom was visiting from California, and Priscilla was still living at the house.
Yeah.
And I have my 11-year-old daughter, and I just randomly sent this guy a photo. And I said, hey, what are you doing? And he goes, well, obviously you tonight. And I said, yep, it's your lucky day. And so he gives me an address. He says, meet me here at 8. I go, okay, no problem. See you there.
Are these men, do they portray straight to the world? And
Yep.
okay.
They sure do. Yeah, I can't be with gay guys
Okay.
because they're gay.
Right. It's feminine.
And I don't
You're
want that
attracted to the
experience.
alpha,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
swing both ways, but if I'm going to be with a guy, I want to be with a guy.
Right,
I
right,
want to be with a masculine.
man's man.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't want to be with a twink.
Right.
You know, nothing against the
Right,
twinks.
right.
But I don't want to be
It's
with.
just your preference.
It's just personal preference. So I sneak out the door. My mom's like, don't worry, we got this. And I sneak out the door. I go, it's dark. And I have this F-150 truck at the time, this big XLT F-150 four-door. And I drive out to my little city of Leander to an industrial area.
I know where Leander is. That's
Oh,
awesome.
God. Okay,
Yeah.
so I live in Leander.
Okay, awesome.
That's crazy. So we drive kind of past HEB up Hero. And we take a left on Baghdad. And it's just this crappy industrial area, like commercial industrial. And he goes, meet me at my office. I'm like, oh, sexy. Okay. And as I'm pulling in, I text him like, I'm lost. And it's getting weird. It just does not look like a good area. And he goes, hey, do you see the Stranger Things light kind of flickering in the way across the way there? I go, yeah. He says, head that way. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
You're like, well, are you taking me to slaughter me somewhere?
I'm literally going, this is how girls die.
Yeah.
Like, this is how they do stupid shit like this and they die.
Yeah.
And I see his office. I see him standing out there. He goes, hey, you see the creepy guy standing in the doorway? I go, yeah. He goes, that's me. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to end well. And I park, and I've got a Glock 19.
Yeah.
I got a license to conceal carry, and it's in the center console. And I just go, I don't know where to hide this thing. I'm just going to leave it in the truck like a freaking idiot.
Oh, no.
So I shut the door, and I walk up to him, and I say, I've got a Glock 19, but I left it in the center console. So don't kill me. And he goes, if I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead by now.
Right.
And I just thought, all right, fuck it, let's go. At least he's telling the truth. So we walk in. It's this giant, like, industrial office building. And I'm like, what the hell do you do? He goes, oh, you know that Delta 6 strain of weed? And I go, yeah. He goes, we're the largest distributor of it in the nation. I go, oh, so he's got money. Cool. So he walks him back to his office. And I want you to remember this. Carpeted floors are like that burlap carpet, the really rough stuff.
Yeah.
So put that in the back of your mind for now. We walk into his office, and we just start the small talk. And he goes, lights on or off? I'm like, I don't care. And he goes, lights on then, cool. And there's floor-to-ceiling windows. Just line the entire wall. And he starts talking to me. He goes, how are your knees? And I go, oh, I was running 5 to 10 miles a day at the time. I'm like, did I talk to him about my running? Like, what's he going? I go, oh, they're fine. Why? He goes, well, you should get on them. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just kick off my slides, and down I go, and out pops this fucking hog. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what is this
I
thing?
feel like everybody on Grindr is hung. What the fuck is happening?
I do not know. And he was just a white guy too. And like, I'm currently kind of not seeing, but I've got a guy I see who's African American.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that thing.
Listen, I believe you. Jeffree Star fucking pulled out his fucking roster when he was here and showing me dicks he was sucking.
Oh,
and
God.
I was like, good Lord. I've never seen fucking honkers that
Oh,
big, dude.
it's scary, honey.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you do with all that?
There is no cervix to hit with me, but there is a colon. I'm like, please don't puncture it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, where does it go? Where does it all go?
I don't know. But and then, so what happened is, like, I came up for air, and I get this right on the face, like a slap to the face. Not too hard, not too soft. And I was all, I'm like this. I'm like, oh. You know? If anybody that can't see, I'm holding the microphone
You
right now with
guys,
two hands.
you
like
have
it's
to get on Patreon to see this. This is hilarious. The facial expression.
And I was all, I kind of like that. Wow. And I learned really quick. Every time I would take my mouth away, I get a slap. I'm all,
So she's
all
like,
right. I get it. Yeah. So I just get a little pop every time. And I felt safe. He wasn't beating me up.
Right.
And I'm like, okay,
No, I
that
love it.
stings. And then at one point, I come up for air, and he fish hooks my mouth. He takes his fucking finger.
I'm getting
and
on
goes,
Grindr. Fuck that.
goes like this. And then I hear this. I'm like, oh my God. I just blew snot out my nose. I was laughing too hard. He spit in my fucking mouth.
Dude, I love this man.
It was so hot. But at that moment, I'm like this. I'm like, I'm trash. I'm trash.
Isn't that the best feeling,
And
though?
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So,
It's like, use me and abuse me, baby. I don't even care.
that's what it was. And he, after that, he puts me on the ground, bends me over, and, like, he goes to town, and I'm going, wow, my knees really hurt right now.
Oh, fuck, got on the
And I
burlap
try to come up and
carpet.
say something. Every time I come up, he just shoved my head back down on the carpet. So I'm just like smash face like this. I had these big ass hoops on that I was so proud of. I got them on Shein for like $4, but they were massive. They were triangles by the time we were done, you know?
Oh my God. You got the full experience, baby.
I did. And I still, to this day, this is 2.5 years ago, I got rug burn on this knee. Still, I got a
Damn.
scar that never went away.
Damn.
So,
Did you ever see Dude Again?
fuck no. He kept hitting me up, and I'm like, that was the processing. I was going, yeah, I had that experience. I liked it. I
Yeah.
can see why women go back, and I understand. And you know, I had a real interesting understanding at that moment,
Right.
because I thought I was an object before. I was definitely an object then.
Right.
But what I realized is that, again, this is pre-facial surgery.
Yeah.
I was still very muscular and very masculine looking. And I realized that I just wanted to be affirmed. I just wanted the affirmation from a guy to tell me, no, he didn't even tell me I was beautiful. He told me I was a fucking whore and a piece of shit and a bitch and all these things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but he's using my body to get what he wants.
Right.
And it makes me feel good that I can do that for him. So I had this.
You just want to be loved.
I did at the time. Yeah, and I still do.
Yeah.
But I had an understanding for women that go through that. Like
I love it.
biological women that go through that.
My husband thinks I'm so weird because I'm like, call me a fucking whore, slap me, like do whatever you want to me. And he's just, my husband is the sweetest little fucking jelly
He
donut.
seems like it.
And
Oh
he's
my
just,
God.
he's so passive and like, he's not, you know, aggressive at all. So he's got this fucking big bodacious blonde who's like, just fuck me. And he's just like, never knows what to do with me.
Does
He's
he
like,
reach out and like gently choke you?
oh,
like that?
yeah, exactly.
He tries not to
It's the
hurt-
cutest
I
thing.
love him.
It's the cutest thing ever. He's going to kill me for talking about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
I'll
the
skip
cutest
that.
thing ever.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're gonna choke me, just fucking do it.
Oh,
like
so-
I've had guys like, is
Punch
this
me in the
okay?
fucking face. I love it.
Give me a black eye, please.
That's happened when you were talking about how you got slapped by the dick. I had an ex who had his dick pierced, and he had this fucking huge Prince Albert, and he fucking came up and slapped me right in my fucking face, and the piercing hit my eye.
No.
And I had a black eye.
No.
I had a black
Battle
eye for
wound.
like 3 weeks, dude, and I loved it.
That-
Everybody would be like, "What's wrong with you?" I'd be like, "I got dick slapped." It was my excuse to fucking talk about one of my sexual experiences, and I loved it.
Perfect. I love that you're so open about it too, because a lot of people are so introverted
No,
and it's this
I'm-
taboo we don't talk about.
No, I feel it's a
fuck
part
it.
of life, and sex is what makes the world go around. We all got here
Yes.
because of sex,
Oh yeah.
you know. So I think as long as you're having fun and it's not like hurting anybody, I think you're good. You know.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So let's rewind back before we got on this fucking Grindr thing.
I know.
We left off at you wearing your mom's clothes and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yep.
So all through high school, it was lonely. You
Mm-hmm.
you know, didn't have friends and stuff like that. What happens once you graduate high school? Because you had said that you were not attracted to men.
No.
So you had girlfriends.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I started lifting weights summer of sophomore year. I got tired of being picked on. And I asked my dad, I said, he had this old rusty weight set in the garage. And I just looked at him. I said, show me. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's do this. Showed me everything. And I hit the weights. Nobody ever picked on me again. I blew up in size over the summer. I didn't
And
do any
naturally?
steroids.
Did you do
All
it
natural.
naturally?
Yeah. I didn't do steroids until I was in my like mid 20s. It was before I got hired. Oh God, I just choked on my own spit. It
You're
took me
right.
back to the Grindr experience.
I love those flashbacks.
Oh God, I was like, oh yeah, okay. Freudian slip. But yeah, I didn't do steroids, so I was in my mid 20s.
You got accepted into like you started wrestling around 2007, right? Or was it?
It
before then?
was 2008 was my first February 1st 2008 was my first day at WWE in training.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and
What started that journey? Because you started working out, and
Yep.
your dad helped you, and then all
Yep.
that stuff.
And I realized that people didn't want to pick on me anymore.
You're a good-looking dude.
I was a really good looking
Yeah,
guy.
I was telling
God.
them, I was like, I would definitely have banged him.
Oh God, Gabe was a daddy, and
Yeah.
he loved sex. Trust me, he
Yeah.
loved hot blondes too. It
Yeah.
would have been crazy.
Do you feel like you're two different people now?
I do.
Yeah.
I didn't think that in the beginning, but there's parts of me that are left. Like the soul is still the same. I
Of
always say that the
course.
soul's still the same, but there's very little of Gabe left. You know, very little. The kind-hearted person I was, the big heart, the desire to consistently help people and contribute, that's there. But I look at photos, I'm like, I can't believe I was that person.
Like, who is that?
Yeah, it doesn't even. I kind of blow a fuse when I think about it.
Yeah.
Where were we talking about?
We were
weightlifting?
we were talking about how you had started lifting weights and
yeah.
you had realized that you started to say that people, because you were
Yes. So it gave me a platform.
right.
And I started personal training. I've got a degree in civil engineering. I went through college. I was way more outgoing once
Wow.
people stopped picking on me.
Civil engineering is huge.
That
That means you're a smart motherfucker.
I don't want to sound arrogant, but I am.
Yeah, no, toot your horn, baby. You deserve that.
I majored in hydrology, minored in structure, so I could technically design a bridge or a skyscraper if I needed to.
Wow.
But I transferred all my knowledge over the last 15, 18 years to fitness and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm a licensed sports nutritionist, CPT. I've got 4 extra certifications in the National Association of Sports Nutrition. And in the last 15 years, I've coached 1,500 people to success in health and fitness. So I learned early on that when people change their lives with fitness and you watch somebody go through this amazing transformation, they become more confident in every aspect of their life. It spills over to their family. They become better mothers, fathers, parents, brothers, sisters, better friends. They get more confident at work. I watched their careers take off. And so it wasn't just changing a physique. I was helping somebody change their entire life.
You change your mind. When you change your
Oh my
body, you
God.
change your mind.
You completely change your mind, which is actually what I do more of now. And we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But it put me in a position where I was doing a lot of training. I was surfing. I had started growing dreadlocks because it was part of the surf community. I just didn't give a shit about anything. I was working in the corporate world still. I was still a civil engineer. And we had a friend who owned a gym. We did personal training, and he owned a gym. We got to be friends because we were kind of competitors, but kind of not. So it's good to know people in your network.
Yeah.
You always had these big ass dudes around, just like 6'7" dudes around that were just jacked.
Yeah.
And little did I didn't watch wrestling. I stopped watching when I was like 10.
Yeah. I
Little
stopped
bit-
watching when it was fucking Queen Elizabeth and fucking Randy Savage.
Oh God,
That was like the last
Elizabeth and
time I
Randy.
was into fucking
Same.
WWE.
That was the last time I watched. It was the Hogan era.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And Rick Bassman was a scout for WWE, and these guys are just giant wrestling stars around me. I had no idea. They were just my buddies. It was like Bear and Tom and just all these other guys. And Sean. I'm like, okay. So one day he goes, "Hey, I know you don't watch wrestling, but there's some scouts here. Why don't you come up and let them have a look?" I go, "Okay." So I went up to his gym, and I don't know what I was getting into, girl. There 40, 50 guys in their boots and underwear up there and full gimmick. And I walk in
Sounds like a good time.
why, I know, right? Now I'd be like, "Hi."
What Grindr date is this?
I know. Let's just, leave the lights on. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You can film too. That's cool.
For sure.
But they just thought I was marketable, and then go, let's see what we can do here. So they sent me to training. I did good. And next thing I know, I got a contract in my hand. So
It seems like anything you set your mind to, you fucking crush.
I think that has a lot to do with being younger from our era, where follow through was
Oh,
the
yeah.
most important thing a parent could teach a child. And it still is.
Yes. That's what we're trying to instill in our child right now.
It's critical. And I'm doing the same with mine. With her, she's just now getting into the homework era. She's 11. And my mom knew I could be a straight A student, and she made me. If I didn't get an A on a test, she's like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "We're going to study." And so she would study with me. My dad would study with me. And
love that.
It taught me the value of follow through. And so if I set my mind to something, I absolutely get it done no matter what the cost. I have this saying. If you look at your goals and you look at the reasons behind those goals, if you're not absolutely fucking ecstatic to cross the finish line, there's one of two things that needs to happen. First, pick different goals.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I decided to do this, but I just don't pick different goals. And I think it's because it's what the heart really wants. You want that. The
Yeah.
soul wants it. You want that. So
Yeah.
why fucking pick a different goal? The second option is get better reasons.
Yeah.
So I just find better fucking reasons. I get
Yeah.
more emotion behind it, and I go do it.
Yeah. I love that. That's fucking great advice to follow. So take me on this wrestling journey.
Okay. What do you want to know?
you go try out in this room with everybody. You get a contract, and what is that like? You're still, again, not attracted to dudes,
Nope.
not thinking about transitioning.
Nope.
You and your wife were childhood sweethearts. When did you meet Priscilla?
I met her when she was 16 years old.
Okay.
I had just turned 18. We had mutual friends. We didn't even know.
She's a cutie pie, by the way.
She's a goddess. Like,
Yeah.
she is hot.
Yeah.
And she's just as sweet. You know, the inside and the outside match.
That's all that-
She's a beautiful soul. But the moment we locked eyes, it was like lightning in the air. It was like, bzz, you know, it was like love at first sight. And we talked about reincarnation before. Her and I have lived many lifetimes together.
That's
it's as
hypo
if we
with Jay.
find, really same? Yeah. You find each other every time, it feels like.
Every time.
And so we knew. But yeah, I
Did you guys date at 16? And no?
we
Okay.
waited.
So you guys just
because
met.
I just turned 18. I was obviously too old to date her.
Right.
We stayed friends, and her dad was a pastor
Oh.
of a little Christian church.
Oh.
And so on her 18th birthday, or shortly after she turned 18, my parents were gonna go see a movie. Remember The Mummy with Brendan
Yes.
Fraser?
Yes.
That had just hit theaters.
Back
It
when
was-
Brendan Fraser was super hot.
oh my God, he was
He used to be a babe, dude.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't think so at the time. I mean, I knew he was a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, you probably get all the girls, you
Yeah.
know? Like, as a guy, you know what another good-looking guy looks like.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
Brad Pitt, I'm like, fuck, I hate you. You're so hot.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's a funny sidebar story. You know, now middle of my transition, my mom comes and stays with me sometimes. My dad comes every now and then. He's got a bum knee, so it's hard for him to travel. Family is great. But she came, and we were watching Fast 9 in my loft upstairs. And I looked at her, and this was kind of like as her and I were developing the new relationship. And Vin Diesel was on. I said, you know, Mom, I remember when I used to want to be Vin Diesel. She goes, oh, yeah, you were big. And I said, now I just want to lick him. And she's just like, oh, my God, I'm not ready for this.
Mom's like, stop it right
Oh, it
now.
was so funny.
Aw.
So, yeah, WW was amazing. Oh, no, we were talking about Priscilla.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're good. And then we can
So
go back into
we go to
WW.
this. I go pick her up at her parents' house, but I called ahead of time, and I say, "Hey, Mr. Ingram, this is Gabe. I'm a friend of your daughter's. I was wondering if I could take her to a movie tonight. My parents and I and my brother are going to go see a movie, and it's at whatever time." And he goes, "Okay, well, we'll see. Why don't you be at my house at this time?" I'm, oh, okay. So I shaved. Like, I had a beard at the time. I had like a Backstreet Boy beard and goatee. I had earrings. So I shaved, baby face, took out all my earrings, wore some preppy sweater, showed up with a dozen roses and knock on the door. And he opens the door. He goes, "Oh, thanks. Those are for me." And he takes the flowers and walks away. I'm like, oh, shit. And he sits me down. Kind of like your studio here. There's a chair there. There's a couch here. And so I sit. He goes, well, actually, he says, "Sit here." I go, okay. And he sits across the way. Girl, he didn't say anything.
He was trying to intimidate you.
Didn't say shit for what seemed like an eternity. And he's just staring at me to where I'm getting fidgety. I'm like, is he going to murder me? I got no idea where Priscilla is. And he just looks at me and he says one sentence. He leans forward and he goes, "So, what exactly are your intentions with my daughter?"
Aw.
And even as a guy, I about pissed myself in that moment.
You're like, well, I haven't thought that far.
I really didn't. And I don't remember what I said, but I said
Yeah.
all the right things. And he goes, "Okay." And Priscilla comes out and is like, "Daddy, leave him alone." And I go, "No, we're fine. We're good." And
Yeah. It's like out of a movie.
yeah, it was literally out of a movie, which got even better because we go to the movies and I was petrified about my mom talking to Priscilla. She hated all the girls I had dated before. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I had dated some
Real floozies.
yeah, that just were not up to par with my mom, you know?
Right.
I mean, she had walked in on me and a girl previously. And,
Oh,
oh,
poor
yeah,
mom
that,
is scarred.
that ended terribly for that poor woman.
Oh.
Not my mom, but for,
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Jill. It
Yeah.
ended horribly.
Damn it, Jill.
Poor Jill.
Poor
I don't
Jill.
remember her last name, but yep.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. And so we get to the theater and Priscilla sits right next to my fucking mom. And I'm, well, this is over before it starts. I couldn't get those two to shut up through the whole fucking movie. They were just like two hens like, blah, blah, blah. So from that moment, I knew everything was perfect.
You just knew it was perfect. But you
Yeah.
guys still didn't date or anything like that. You guys just continued to
Yeah. Oh,
be friends.
Oh, girl, we didn't. She had made a promise to God to not be with a man or kiss a man until her wedding day.
Oh,
So I honored that.
that's amazing.
We dated for 5 years, and we didn't kiss or do anything.
So you
until
guys from the start developed a best friendship.
we did. Our relationship was based on more than just sex. Trust me, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I think I still have calluses on my hands
From
Yeah,
jerking off
they're
so
deep.
much.
They're deep. I got back into my early 20s.
Right.
There was a lot of solo time. But yeah, we developed something that people don't have. It was a deep emotional friendship.
Yeah, which explains the connection now too.
It does.
Yeah.
It really, really does.
That's amazing. All right, so take me on this WWE journey.
No, girl.
You get this. Vince McMahon has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
He rubs everybody the wrong way.
He seems like he's just not a good. Like he doesn't have a soul.
I don't think he does.
Yeah,
I
he's very vacant behind the eyes.
You know, it's interesting. Being a business owner, now I've scaled a couple companies, and I have 14 people that work underneath me now. And I've hired and fired a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of tolerance for, stupid people.
Right.
And people that say they're going to do something or not. And
Oh,
when
I
I
hate
think
that.
about Vince and the empire he runs and created,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that to where he is by being
Empathic.
right. You get that way by being a fucking shark and not tolerating bullshit.
Right.
I don't agree with a lot of the things he does, but at the same time, he is just a cold-hearted businessman.
Yeah.
I didn't get it at the time.
And he's a different generation too.
Much different
Yeah.
generation. Yeah, much different. I get it now, though. And honestly, if I could go back and see him again, I would probably shake his hand and say, I learned a shit ton from all the shit you put us through and the way that you did business. I learned a lot from it. I didn't know it until 10 years later, but I learned
Right.
from it. Thank
Wow.
you. I'd say thank you.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
But WWE was interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting. I got to, I spent February to June in training. And I didn't run the indie scene like everybody else. They go do these little indie shit promotions. They spend their life
Yeah.
wanting to be wrestlers. I was the guy everybody hated because I got picked. And they were starting to do this. They were looking for talent outside of the wrestling pool. So I didn't know shit. I was a quick learner. I learned everything very quick. And in less than 6 months, I was on TV. Did my debut.
Wow.
Yeah, and they started me off as a good guy. Didn't go too well. I was this big jack surfer dude, and the bad guys were really small. And I got most of the psychology of a wrestling match is to get the shit kicked out of you as a good guy
Right.
to build sympathy.
Right.
And the crowd just wasn't buying it. So they turned me
Right.
into a bad guy, and that's when the shift happened.
Yeah.
I was really good at being bad.
Yeah. I
Still
love
kinda
that.
am.
Did you really enjoy wrestling? Was that like, were you happy? Was your soul filled doing that? Or was it just kind of something that you were just using to pass the time?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Point blank. honest.
Physically, emotionally,
All of the above.
all of the
It was
above.
such a mind fuck because we were in this era where the trainers made us job scared. Well, actually, I take that back. Nobody can make you feel any certain way. I believe we're the masters of our own emotions.
Yeah.
We don't come out of the womb feeling jealousy or rage or malice. That's learned
It's taught.
behavior, right? And so I was job scared based on everything that they told us. I allowed myself to be job scared. And so did everybody in my crop.
Yeah.
It was, you shut up, you're humble, you don't do anything, you do what they say, you just wait, you be quiet, you put your hands in your lap, that sort of thing. Don't ruffle feathers.
Right.
And that is what was the mind fuck, because you want to go break out and be a star. But how the fuck are you supposed to be yourself when you're not
Right.
supposed to say anything?
When you're scared shitless.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the bulk of what I dealt with. It was always waiting for somebody to just kind of, okay, is this okay? Do I do this? Do I not do this? And it was a big mind fuck. I loved being in front of the crowd. I loved it. It's you and another guy, or you and 2 or 3 other guys if you're in a tag team, and it's not like a football game.
Mm-hmm.
The whole fucking crowd's watching you. You know, with
And
Jay,
WWE fans are fucking insane.
it's crazy.
It's a cult.
Oh my God, it's such a cult.
Yeah.
But to be able to control the energy, there is a undeniable energy
Power.
in an auditorium and arena. You know that very well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, lift your hand and the crowd goes nuts over here, and you're controlling 10,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a fucking drug.
Yeah.
Like, to say the least. I loved it. I loved to be hated because that was my job.
Yeah.
I loved being in the spotlight. I loved every moment of that. The politics fucking sucked. The travel fucking sucked.
What is a travel schedule like for a wrestler?
Oh God. So we did what you would call house shows. And basically I would leave San Francisco on a red eye Thursday night. I get to whatever East Coast, Midwest place we were going Thursday morning. And then me and Chris Masters is usually who it was. We'd grab a hotel room together and split the cost. because the wrestlers paid for their own hotel, their own gym, their own rental car.
Wow.
WWE covered the flight. That was it.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And everybody's like, oh, you're rich. You're like, no, all your money goes to travel. Like, you don't, they paid me $100,000. And all the rest
A
of my
year?
money went to $100,000 a year
Wow.
is all they paid me. And, I spent over a third of it on travel.
Wow.
And then Uncle Sam took a third. So you
Right.
don't make what everybody thinks you make.
Right.
But so Friday we do a house show. It's non-televised. And then we drive 300 miles to the next town, sleep, do another house show, drive another 200-300 miles, sleep, do the next show until we get to Monday Night Raw, which was live to TV.
Mm-hmm.
Then we drive closer to 300 miles so people can't buy tickets to the same show and they can pack that arena.
Wow.
We taped SmackDown on Tuesday. It would air Friday. We would leave wherever we were on the East Coast Wednesday. I would walk in the door back home in the Bay Area about 3:30 in the afternoon. And then I would see my wife and my daughter, who was less than a year old, for half a day. And then I take off and do it again.
Wow.
That's why I quit.
Damn.
Yeah.
But you think you got that from your dad?
I do. I
Because
think,
your dad, he turned down the
I think
financing.
it instilled in me
Mm-hmm.
the value of family.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did. I walked out after SummerSlam. I just walked
What
in.
year? How long were you in
It
there?
was 2012. I was 2008 to 2012 was my TV run.
Mm-hmm.
And after SummerSlam, I called Priscilla. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be away. Mia was crying every time I left. She couldn't quite say daddy. She would say daddy. And she'd stand at this, daddy, don't go, daddy.
Oh, daddy.
God. And it broke my heart. I'm like, I can't be a FaceTime parent.
No.
So I walked into Raw the next day. And I was finally our time. We were getting that push, as we call it, where you get the machine behind you. And Vince loved our gimmick. We were, my tag partner Hawkins and they came up with this gimmick for strippers. It was when Magic Mike had just come out.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash was in Magic Mike, so Triple H had a hard on for the show. But Vince loved it, and we finally had Vince behind us. We were doing great. And I literally walked in. I'm like, Hawkins, I'm quitting today. He's like, what? And so I talked to everybody, and Triple H was really cool. He goes, I get it. I'm a dad. Door's always open for you. No problem. Just head home. You're good. I'm like, okay.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I drove home from Fresno that day, which is crazy. That was my debut arena. And randomly, the arena where I quit was Fresno, California.
Wow.
And so I drove a couple hours home that day, and that was the end of it.
What year did you and Priscilla get married?
2002.
Okay.
So
What was the wedding night like after you had waited 5 years?
short. For more than one reason. It was painful for her and very quick for me. I was like, okay, it's been 5 years. Well,
You're like, the buildup was wah,
yeah.
wah, wah.
But in all honesty, we've never told this story, and it might as well. She'll probably shoot me for telling it. But
Tell Priscilla to come on next time you come on.
I
That
will
would be
tell her.
amazing.
Oh my God, she is. You'd love her.
Yeah.
Bunnie. You would love her.
She seems like a doll baby.
God, she's amazing. But again, big, strong guy. Virgin female.
Tiny. She's tiny, too.
She's literally a virgin on her wedding night. And so we went really slow, but it was so painful for her.
Ugh.
We couldn't really get things done.
Yeah.
And so we stopped. And she cried about it, and she was feeling like she was a failure. And I reassured him, like, sweetheart, we have our whole lives to work on this.
Aw.
We just got married. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And so that's kind of how wedding night went. And then slowly we broke her in. So,
Yeah. Now she's a professional.
yeah. Oh God, girl, we went on this cruise it was a Carnival cruise, and my grandfather paid for it. It was fantastic. 5-day cruise. You know, you get those little cabins, and we were doing the honeymoon thing.
Oh,
Really noisy. And
I love that.
About day 2, we kind of hear some chuckles in the hallway, and we're like, oh, people walking by. Cool, let's keep going. And we're sitting on the bed one day, and we just kept hearing these chuckles. And we go outside, and parents would shoo their kids away from us. We're like, what the hell's going on? And we sit on the bed one day, and I go, hey P, I wanna try something. She goes, what? Because we just finished a nice loud round. And I said, I'm going to walk outside, just say something in a normal voice. And I shut the door. I'm in the hallway, the cruise ship hallway. And
Yeah.
she goes, can you hear me? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Everybody was hearing you guys'
I'm
sessions.
like, you could probably hear us on 3 decks below at this point.
Oh my
So
God.
It was, I'm all, oh God, I was mortified. She was mortified. It was like heads down the rest of the crew.
Just sunglasses and fucking hoodies over your heads.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Aw,
We
you
were
guys are
so
adorable
embarrassed.
though. That's so sweet. So what happens after you quit wrestling? Like, what's going on? Like, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling? Were you happy about that decision? Did it take a minute to adjust?
It was the best decision I ever made.
Yay.
The day I quit, the next day, my daughter took her first steps.
Aw, it was confirmation from the universe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I went into business with my wife's brother. He'd done digital marketing forever. So I started working for myself again. And I hated it. Girl, I hated it. I just needed to make money.
Right.
You know, I had a couple of grand in the bank. I knew WWE pays you for, I think it was like 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 months to get my shit together.
Right.
I did. And, but I hated it. I wasn't making money. I was designing websites. I was really good at what I did.
Yeah.
It was hard. I had to learn from scratch. I didn't know anything about web. I had to, I had to go learn something brand new. I was borrowing money from my parents, but I had a side project. I still love fitness and nutrition. My brother, he died in 2012. He committed suicide
Oh my
the
goodness.
day after Christmas. And he was a wonderful kid. He was addicted to methamphetamines. He was in finance, third marriage. I didn't know anything about meth. And it's something that happened later in his life. He died when he was 30. And it had been going on, I don't know how long, several years, but it got worse and worse and worse. And at one time he called me and he was paranoid again. This was becoming more and more frequent. He was in a hotel. He'd left the house and he was telling me the CIA was after him and all this shit. And I'm like,
That's meth.
I'm like, bro, you're high. I don't want to talk to you right now. Call me when you get sober. And I hung up on him. But he'd also gotten us in some legal trouble. I had been doing his website and stuff, and I had bought his domain for him because he's my brother. And some guy sued him. And then he sued me because I ran his domain. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I'm in a lawsuit because of some stupid shit you did?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have any money, bro. And I was really mad at him. Like, you're wricking my life. I'm like, what are you doing?
Like, get your shit together.
Yeah. And so
Normal brother conversation for what was going on.
Literally. And I didn't talk to him. We didn't talk for a couple months. And he FaceTimed me the day after Christmas. And I knew something was wrong. But I was still mad at him. And so I kind of waved from across the way. I'm like, hey. And I could just tell something was wrong in his voice. And the next day, he was supposed to pack up his truck, drive home. He was in SoCal. My dad was going to put him in rehab. He stopped at a shooting range on the way, and he shot himself in the head.
Oh,
So
my God.
I missed that opportunity to help him when he called me, and I never forgave myself for that. And so I promised myself.
That's heavy for you to have to carry that too.
Girl, decade, I carried that. But that's why I decided to help people.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a little silly ebook about fitness. That's the only way I knew how to help people. And I put it on the internet. And I spent the last $40 in my pocket to boost a Facebook ad. And it worked.
Wow.
It worked. And I went from making a couple grand a year with this company I called Spartan, which was it was me pouring my heart and soul into motivation, not asking for a thing. And then I published this silly little ebook, and we made 7 figures that year.
Wow.
It was insane.
Do you have a horseshoe up your ass? I say that to my husband.
Yeah, what?
A horseshoe up your ass.
The lucky horseshoe?
Literally. I say that to my husband too. It's like no matter what he does, he always comes out on top.
Well, I was kind of thinking I might actually like that right now. So
Yeah.
in this stage of my life, I'm like,
Right.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I would like to have that experience.
Tell me do that. I know, right? I was like, who's going to be on the other end of that? That would be real. Okay, I can think of a
Not
couple of
fucking
guys.
carpet guy.
No, God, no. No, but we can welcome. I call my guy David. I don't want to give his real name away.
Yeah.
On social media, on my Gabbi After Dark lives, I call
Yeah.
him David. I could bring David over. He'd do that to me.
I love that. So you make 7 figures. You're fucking kicking ass
Yep.
at life. When are you starting to think about transitioning? Has this crossed your mind yet? Are you still just alpha mailing it up?
Total alpha male. It was
Okay.
on a ton of steroids during that kind of 2012 to 2020 time.
Okay.
Got to be about 280 pounds, like 6 to 8% body fat year round. You saw photos. I had dreadlocks down my ass.
Oh, you
shaved
guys got to
side of my
go look up Gabbi pre-transition. She was, she's banging now, but Gabe was hot too.
Oh, he was so hot.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. It sounds so Buffalo Bill, but like I would have dated me. God.
Yeah. I'd fuck me.
I've been avoiding saying it this whole time, but I'm like, I would totally.
I would
me.
fuck me.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for all the the haters to be like, oh God, she's such an autogynephile.
God, who
She's
fucking
crazy.
cares about these people?
I'm just like, yeah, I would totally fuck my old self.
Totally. No, I told them that. I was like, he was hot, dude.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was no thought of transitioning. About 36 years old, though. In the bedroom, I had this resurfacing. I would walk into Priscilla's closet when she was not around, like putting away laundry. And I remember very specifically one day, I was like putting away her panties, and I just like, kind of look at them like, shit. And I kind of like halfway put them on. I'm all, nope, those are going to rip. So,
Big ass dude.
yeah, I put them away real quick. But I had this desire to start getting back into female clothing and
Right.
having that experience again. And it took me back to my childhood.
Do you think it's because you suppressed it so much as a child and that it
think
just started resurfacing? I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, I'm coughing.
No, it's me too.
Excuse me.
I told you I've got that esophagus thing going on, so I cough a lot right now.
Yeah.
But I think that was the beginning of it. And I remember the very pivotal night. I wanted to just get into female clothes so bad, but here I am, this giant alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
I was slowly drinking more and more and more. And my drink of choice was Johnny Walker Black.
Oh,
And I get those big ass handles at Costco.
brutal.
You know,
Yeah.
I would go through, half a handle in a week, like no problem. But I was 4 or 5 very full scotches down that night, laying face down on the bed, and Priscilla comes up and it's sexy time. She's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm just face down on the bed, just drunk, and I'm like, "Put your panties on me." She's just like, "What?"
She had no inclination. You
Yeah.
had never. Did you ever tell her about your childhood at all?
No. Oh God, no. It was the deepest, darkest secret I
Yeah.
ever had, like I
Okay.
said. And early in our marriage, she had tried to kind of like slip a finger in the no-no zone. And I was like, oh, fuck no, no. As much as I want to be like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
The inside of me, I was like, oh yeah, go
Yeah.
for that. But the male in me is like, don't you dare. Nah,
Yeah.
that's not going up there. I'm gay if you do that. No, not admitting that. I'm not feminine. I don't want things inserted into me.
Right.
So I said it again, and I'm just laying there with my head in a pillow. I'm like, put your panties on me.
Bitch.
I'd fuck me.
Yeah.
And I just remember her just like, I'm down for anything. Let's go. And so there she did. And it was this bedroom thing.
Yeah.
And the way I've got a much more level head now. I
Right.
don't drink.
Right.
I stopped drinking almost 2 years ago. I'm
Good.
post heart surgery, and my heart does not like it when I drink. So it was a reason to stop.
Absolutely.
So I stopped drinking, and hormones have leveled out quite a bit. I'm much more balanced than in the beginning.
I can't. We'll get into that, but that's got to be brutal. Going from steroids of testosterone A to estrogen, dude. Holy shit.
That's a ride.
Oh,
That's like a 5G ride at Six Flags
Oh,
that never stops.
I couldn't imagine.
It's crazy. But
So you guys did the panties.
We did the panties. And then we did the let's put a finger in the butt kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then let's
And Priscilla didn't. Oh, well, because she's a virgin, so she's probably not picking up on
Nope.
any of that. Okay.
And it was just, I trust my husband. Like
Yeah.
our sex was good.
Yeah,
Like,
I bet.
I said it earlier. We would go for hours.
Yeah.
We would spend till the sun rose. I mean, we
Aw.
did crazy things. Like we would bang in the front yard sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
I
we were
love
just
that.
such voyeurs. It was so bad.
I love that.
But when I look back on it, I felt safe in the bedroom. And I
Yeah.
really had to analyze what was going on. And I think the way I really thought about it, it was a safe zone. Because everybody's got a kink, right?
Right.
And if it was ever exposed for any reason, I'm like, it's just a bedroom thing. Fuck it, you know? Like guys do weird shit in the bedroom
Yeah.
all the time, and it's secret. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But then it became when she wasn't around. Like, I had a pair of panties that I obviously ruined when she put on me. Those were mine, and she
Yeah.
put them in my drawer.
She let you have them. She was like, you can have them.
I mean, they were stretched and ripped 10 ways from Sunday. She's like, well, I ain't putting these back on. These will be for playtime. I'm like, okay, cool. Well,
Aw.
playtime, it evolved to when she wasn't around.
What does it feel like when you would put on women's clothes?
It was very, well, and I have to caution be careful when I say this, because there are so many people that go, it's a sexual fetish. And as a guy, there's a lot of testosterone floating around, especially for a guy with, you know, a ton of testosterone and steroids in his system, but it was highly arousing. But also, it was very comforting. It felt right. And I didn't want to get out of them.
Right.
And so even there were just times when I wasn't aroused and I just put them on. I'm like, okay, I can just kind of wear these things around the house.
Like
underneath.
a special blanket, you know, like, you know what I'm talking about? You know, like some guys carry around a blanket that they had when they were kids, or a teddy bear, you know.
I had
like
a panda bear. So
yeah.
It was like my panda bear.
Yeah, there you go. It was just comfort.
Did you ever watch South Park?
Parts of it, yes.
Yeah, there was an episode where they did like a sexual harassment panda. And as I said that, I'm like, this is just way too coincidental. But yeah, I would just kind of, you know, secretly wear them as much as I could. And it felt right. It wasn't like a dirty sexual fetish.
Right.
It was just like a, this feels right kind of thing. Because I couldn't wear anything else. I walked around in boxers half the time. I wore boxer briefs.
Right.
But I walk around in boxers, and, you know, guys walk around without a shirt on all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like I wear a bra around the house and get away with it.
Right.
But when COVID hit, it became once in a blue moon to everybody's locked down and we got nothing to do. Let's everybody get drunk every single night. And that's kind of what we did.
Yeah.
Mia would go to bed, and she'd go to bed at like 7:30. She was pretty young. And we get drunk. And it became a once a month thing, and a once every other week thing, and a once a week, and a once a night. To suddenly we're not having sex. What was happening? I just wanted to get dressed up and be me. And we started having these incredible conversations. There was a lot of emotion in it. Sorry, my throat is talking to us. And we cried. She cried. I cried. This whole other side of me came out.
Yeah, and these conversations, what were they about? Just how you were feeling?
It was deep emotion about our love for each other, about the universe. I was embracing femininity in those moments. And unfortunately, again, I have to be careful about how I say this.
Right.
The
Because your journey
clothing-
is your journey.
Right. And people are going to take this. They're going to twist it 10 ways from Sunday, because they always do. But all I had was lingerie at the time. Because when you look around on the internet as a guy for women's clothing, all that comes up are cross-dresser sites. And, you know, a lot of these people never want to transition. They just get off by being in women's clothing. It's true. There's a lot of people that do that. There's
Right.
a lot of cross-dressers that...
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the fuck was going on. That's all I could find. I'm like, well, I'll just buy lingerie because I'm 270, 50 pounds, varying depending on the day at that time. And this is all I could find to fit. It was like a 6X in my size on these cross-dresser sites. But it helped me to slide into femininity. And they were just very deep conversations. And I would get to be me. And it's this other side of Gabe that nobody had seen. But I truly believe it was the side of me that I suppressed as a 10-year-old kid, coming back up and being able to connect with Priscilla about marriage and things that I was wrong on, that I had just slammed the hammer down on as a guy. Like, no, I'm right.
Yeah.
Where I didn't do that. We got to talk about her emotions a lot, and I got really good at listening.
Oh,
I got really good at listening.
that's amazing that you were able to hear her.
It was different. It was different. Most guys don't listen.
They
And
listen to respond.
They do. Did I just smear my lip all over my face? Put on your lipstick, you whore.
We like it.
It was this beautiful experience, and it suddenly sex exited the relationship.
Okay.
And we had sex occasionally, but it was about getting dressed in the feminine as quickly as possible, because I only had a couple hours. And then once that time was up, I had to go wipe off all the makeup. I had to get all the clothes and hide them, get rid of all the residual eyeliner, because I had to be Gabe the next day. And my kid couldn't find out. The motivational videos I was doing for all the alpha males, the millions of guys that followed me on social media, but like, we were internationally known for body Spartan. I worked out with guys like Mike O'Hearn's a good friend of our family, C.T. Fletcher. I still talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, we had workout videos with amazing icons.
Do you also think Priscilla was backing off because you did, reveal your deepest, darkest secrets, and maybe she realized, like, hey, this is my best friend. I want him to live his most, her to live her most authentic life. Sorry, it's a mouthful.
No, it's fine. It's hard when we talk about me being gay.
Right. It's, I don't know.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not a special snowflake. I'm always, it's confusing even for me. Do I call myself a guy back then or not? Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Priscilla even,
but I
she's
think
like, what
then
do I do?
was
Well,
the when it was starting to transition was she was realizing that you were Gabbi as opposed to Gabe. So she's letting you live your most authentic.
And there was a time when she came to me too. I just, insider.com asked me to write an article about this, and it just got published 2 days ago. So I wrote an article because people have asked me, oh, you read it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then you'll be aware of what I'm going to say. She came to me one day and she said, look, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but in the daytime or the next day or whenever you're not Gabbi and, you know, we're getting intimate, I still have these visions of you dressed as a woman. And I'm having a hard time being attracted sexually. And that was the moment where I just went, okay, this is a fetish. I can't do this. It's ruining my marriage. You know, whatever. Don't worry about it, girl. Never. She's like, no, I don't want you to, you don't have to stop, but I got to talk to you about it. I'm like, no, it's over. I'm like, boom, hammer down, done. That was the male mentality. You know, it's just like, I was very extreme in everything I did because that's just who I was.
Right.
And so I buried it. I remember that night I took a big old, I'd been off steroids for a while, and I just loaded up a syringe with like Test and Tren, and I just jabbed it into my shoulder.
Do we think this is why we had heart problems?
Well, what's interesting is my heart problem was genetic.
Oh,
and
wow.
Stanford theorized it was an aortic aneurysm in the ascending aorta.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, my mom had the surgery a year before I did. However, I think I might have accelerated the need to have it before I was 60 because of my consistently high blood pressure with the steroids.
God, you're lucky you survived that.
Oh, I'm very lucky. Most people have I had symptoms. I was one of the 1% of the population that had an aortic aneurysm that had symptoms.
What were your symptoms?
It was a deep ache, like right on the left here, just underneath my breastplate. I'm like, what is that? And it was just consistent. And that's the aneurysm growing. It's like a water balloon.
Yeah. And my mom had one in her brain.
Oh, she did?
And she lived.
Oh, my God.
She's dead now, but she lived. She made it past that.
Do I laugh? The way you said that?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, the bitch fucking made it through the aneurysm, dude. She's gone to a better place. Yeah. She's fucking dead. I'm sorry, Bunnie. I just was like, what do I say? Oh my God. You're good. You're good.
God rest her soul.
Yes.
But I think that my high blood pressure, my extremely high blood pressure, contributed to me needing the surgery sooner than most people do.
Goodness gracious.
But I stuck that syringe in my shoulder, and I remember feeling like as I pushed that syringe down, I just felt like Gabbi, her light extinguishing, and I felt like I killed Gabbi. And so I went to the gym. I put on another 15 pounds. I was back up at almost 280. But I kept all those female clothes in my closet. I had a wig and everything in there. I had a bunch of really terrible Amazon wigs that were like $15. Like my coming out video is that $15 Amazon wig. I'm like, I thought I was so cute in it.
Aww, that's the cutest thing ever, though.
It was, oh God, it was, speaking of trash.
Oh, stop it. You had to learn. You have to learn how to be a girl.
I did. And that's, it's such an interesting thing that you just said, because it is a learning process.
It is. I'm still learning how to be a woman. Shit.
This is why I love you. This is absolutely why I love
serious.
you.
It's a never-ending fucking life lesson, let me tell you.
It seems like it's going to be that way for me too.
You've got it down pretty good though.
I have a lot to learn.
Just hit me up anytime you have any questions. I got you.
Okay, well, cool. All right. I like this. I got a mentor.
Yeah.
Hey. But I walked into my closet and I would kind of, turn my head from my clothes like this. No. And then every day I would walk in there. It got harder and harder. And one day I walked in and I think I was reaching for a shirt and I accidentally touched one of the wigs. And I was running my fingers through it. I had this epiphany. It was this pivotal moment where I realized I didn't kill Gabbi. And Gabe and Gabbi were not two separate personas. They weren't two separate people. They were one person, one persona. It was just me. But it was the me I'd buried since childhood. And I couldn't bury it anymore. And that was the moment I became suicidal. because my wife, in my opinion, Priscilla didn't want me to stop being me. I had just taken it the wrong way. And so in my head, I'm like, my wife doesn't want me to do this. I'm fucking 270 pounds right now. I'm
well, you
balding.
had shame. You had shame too.
I had a ton of shame. A ton of shame.
Yeah.
And I started to get very suicidal. I just wanted to be as low to the ground as possible. I couldn't understand it. I just wanted to lay on the ground and just like let the energy leave me. It was a month of this. I had visions of me putting my gun to my head and pulling the trigger. I literally could feel the cold steel on my head. And it scared me. It was very scary, but it was also at that moment, it was a very inviting release to the pain I was dealing with, the emotional pain. So, yeah.
It's brutal. Nobody gets that unless you've been down that low, you know?
It's hard, girl.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard.
Scary. But Priscilla, we had a blowout argument one night. Our marriage was over before I started transitioning.
Well, she was probably heartbroken. You know, the man that she fell in love with, you know, it's kind of like you're losing your, I don't want to say soulmate because you guys are going to be, you know, partners in life no matter what. But on her end too, it was probably very like, she wants to let you be you, but at the same time, she's losing her love of her life.
She was.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the reason our marriage ended. It was a good catalyst. We were rocky before, and it was going to end before. We had hoped that moving to Texas would be a fresh start for us, but there was just no saving it.
Gotcha.
But it was a good way to release each other in friendship. But we had this drag him out, like knock him out argument the night before. She left, stayed at a friend's house, and she came back, and I was convinced that was the day I was going to die. I knew it. I knew if she didn't come home and she was going to leave, she was going to take me, which was good at that moment. And by the end of the night, I'd be gone. Well, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Sorry.
No, you're okay. It's very heavy. It's very deep, but it's real. It's part of your story.
It was interesting. I relived that moment for a second in those emotions, and that was hard. But she asked me if I wanted to talk. She came back. I said, sure. And she sat me down on the porch in our little kind of love seat on the porch. She said, I want to say what I want to say first. And she said all the things about our argument. And I looked at her and I said, you're right. I was wrong. Which was this massive red flag for her. She's like, wait, Gabe's wrong at something? What's going on? You know, like
a Scorpio being wrong? Never.
Me with all those planets. And like, what the fuck's going on? You know, and at that moment she knew something was up. And so she came and sat alongside of me and she said, do you have something you need to tell me? And it took me, must take me 5 minutes to cough the words up. I couldn't get them past like my larynx. I tried and they just would not come up. But she said, this is a safe place. You can tell me anything. I love you. And then I said, if I can't live my life as a woman, I don't want to be alive. And she looks at me and she keeps her hand on me and she says, honey, I know. I love you and we'll figure this out.
Oh,
she knew.
My God.
She knew before I did. She knew months before. And so much so that she had called her mom over the summer and said, you may want to come out, bring the family. I don't know how long Gabe's going to be Gabe.
Oh, my
He's
goodness.
going through kind of a thing. So her family had flown out and seen me right before I started transitioning.
So from that conversation is when you decided to start transitioning?
That was the moment I was free. It was as if that heavy weight, remember I was telling you about that?
Yeah.
I was just released and I was free. It's like 1,000 chains on my heart were broken.
Yeah.
And I instantly just was like, let's go. And I've never looked back.
And that was 2020?
That was September 2020, October 13th, actually.
Wow.
What's today, the 17th?
Today's I think so.
We are 4 days past my 3-year anniversary of starting hormones.
Ah, I love that. Everything's meant to be.
It is. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
My God. That's so amazing. How did your family take to you transitioning? And then let's get into this transitioning journey because I have so many questions.
I got answers.
And I'm sure people listening to this podcast that are dealing with the same thing that you are wondering about your journey as well. So
yeah.
I think you're helping people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so open about it because for years, decades, people hide this stuff and they usually end up committing suicide. So if we can prevent one person from doing that, then we've done our job for the day.
Absolutely.
But my parents, I was petrified to tell them. Petrified to tell them. And I don't know why. I think maybe because I respected them so much. My dad's a man's man, you know? Loved me. We always hug, you know, even as guys, the bro hug, you know, very affectionate family, but I was petrified. And I had to go through this whole process in my head of losing everything. Because I thought, maybe, what if they disown me? What if they never want to talk to me again? And I lived that moment out in my head. And I went through that and I asked myself, can I be okay with this if my parents never talk to me again? And I decided, yeah, if that's the worst case scenario and I'm me, I'm okay. So Priscilla had a suggestion. She said, why don't you write them a letter? That way you don't have to see their faces, see the reaction. You don't have to feel the moments of interruption, and you can just say what you need to say. I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea. So I wrote them I hand wrote them a 12-page letter. And it started off with, Mom, Dad, I'm not sick, I'm not dying, I'm not on drugs, I'm not crazy. Everything's fine. But I have something I need to tell you, and I need you to read this letter from start to finish before you even pick up the phone or you contact me. And I just spilled everything from my childhood to that moment. And at the end, I said, please don't call. Please don't text. Don't contact me until you've had time to process this. And if it's an hour, amazing. If it's 10 years, that's okay too. But when you do, just send me a text. Let me know you've processed. It can be an I don't understand. I have questions. It can be an I hate you. It can be whatever. And it could just be I need more information. But text me first. And she said, put tracking on it. So you know, and you don't wonder if they ever got it.
Right.
And it happened on a Tuesday.
Priscilla's smart.
Girl, she's so intelligent. It's incredible. She's one of the most intelligent women I know.
Yeah.
Happened on a Tuesday. And I was out front. I had just told my neighbors, who were our good friends, about my transition. And one of my daughter's best friend's moms had kind of saw us on the front porch. We were having a couple glasses of scotch. I'm like, you want to come drink? She's like, yeah, let's do it. And I told her. Everybody was very happy and supportive. So I was feeling on cloud 9. And then my phone lights up. And you always think it's going to be your mom that texts and things like this. It was my dad. And it just said, I love you forever. Right? The man's man. I love you forever.
That makes me get choked up.
And then my mom with the essay followed 30 seconds later about, we love you. How do we not know? I'm so sorry. How do we support you? Are you safe? Can we come see you? When can we talk? Like,
oh,
just
my
full
goodness.
support from day one.
I love that.
Yeah, from day one.
That's so amazing.
I'm very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And like I said, I see my folks all the time. I'm actually, I'm flying to Disneyland on my birthday, which is November 1st, and I'm flying my mom down to meet me there.
Aww.
So we're doing a mommy-daughter Disney trip. My kiddo didn't want to go, believe it or not. She's afraid to fly. So I said, can I go with Gigi? She goes, yeah, go. I'll stay here. No problem. I'm like, okay.
Your daughter reminds me of our daughter. They have like the same quirky personality and just, enjoy the moments, because when they turn 15, it's fucking their assholes.
Oh, God. I know, right? Because she's already going on 20.
Yeah.
At 11,
wait. Just
12.
wait. She was so, I tell Mimi all the time, I'm like, she was so sweet when she was 11. What the fuck happened? As soon as she turned 13, I'm like, who are you? You're a demon. What is going on? No, she's a great kid, but golly. I'm like,
I hear that's the magic number, 13. That's when I can expect the hormones to start growing.
Pray for me. Pray for me and my husband. So you get this text from your mom. Everybody's supportive. When do you start doing hormones, and how did you even know how to transition? Did you have to research it?
I knew nothing.
Okay.
I knew nothing about the community. I knew nothing about transitioning. I just dove into research. I'm like, what do I do? I know that there are people that do this. So what do I do? So
you could write like a book on this.
Someday I'm going to.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it's quite the right time yet.
Right.
I'm still early. I've got a lot of life left in me, and there'll be a time, but it's not quite yet. It's not quite yet. So scientist, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, and all these other accolades I just started diving into research.
Yeah.
And I understood the risks. And I got on hormones as quickly as possible. So I found this clinic called the Kind Clinic in Austin. And it was so interesting, Bunnie. No therapy needed. No nothing. They're just like, come on in. I'm like, okay. It took me a month to get an appointment with them, but I did. And I came in, told them I wanted to transition. I said, okay, are you sure? I said, yeah. Okay, here you go. Gave me a prescription. I'm like, that was easy.
Right? I would think that it would be a lot, like you would have had a lot of red tape.
You'd think.
Right. That's crazy.
I was very relieved I didn't need red tape.
Right.
Because
Right.
I had been dealing with this my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was, I was 42 at the time. Well, I was 41 at the time. I was a couple weeks shy of my 42nd birthday. I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew what I needed to do. I'm very
Right.
confident in that. And I'm sure most people will look at me, and if they listen to what I say, aside from my quirky, entertaining side on social media,
Yeah.
they get to know me. They're like, you're pretty fucking normal, Gabbi.
Yeah.
But it was shocking that I didn't need any therapy before.
Right.
It was really interesting. But a long story short, I got
What'd they put you on?
estrogen and
Just
spironolactone. It was oral estrogen pills. It was 2.5 milligrams, basic starting dose, and spironolactone, which is an androgen blocker. So it shut down my natural testosterone production.
Gotcha.
And within a month, I could start to see some feminization starting. I'd shaved my beard off. I wasn't doing the beard thing anymore because it interferes with makeup.
Right.
And then there's this whole presentation thing that happened. And I told my daughter, I said, look, Daddy's kind of going through she had this cool little app. It was called Gotcha Life that all the kids play.
Mm-hmm.
And you make these little characters and stuff. And there was a button for a gender bend. And you could turn a guy into a girl. So if they wanted to make a guy character look like a girl, whatever, they could. And I said, well, Daddy's kind of going through a gender bend. And then she goes, oh, okay. And I said, so you might see me wearing hair and makeup and stuff like that around the house in girls' clothing. And she's like, okay. And I told her, I said, look, I'm not going to do this outside, though. So nobody will know. She says, why? And I said, because I'm kind of afraid people will make fun of me. And she gives me this big hug. And she goes, Daddy, I'll never make fun of you. And so I start crying. She starts crying. I'm with big hugs. And so she knew that was happening. So there's no beard. I saw feminization starting about the 30-day mark. It's something in the eyes. I don't know how to explain it, but it's something around the eyes.
Softens your eyes, probably.
I think that was really what started to happen. And it was slow. It wasn't happening at the rate I wanted it to.
No.
So I'm like, can I make this happen overnight? Can
You're
I just
like,
skip all
I
this
need
shit?
a magic wand.
Literally,
you
give me a fairy godmother.
How are you mentally feeling?
At that time?
Yes.
Oh, girl. Estrogen in the system?
Yeah.
Roller coaster.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
A leaf would blow by. I'm like, it's so beautiful. Like, and at the same time, Priscilla would say something, and I'm like, you hate me. Like,
no.
it was crazy. I'm like, I cry at everything. What the fuck's going on?
You're like, know? She's like, yeah, welcome to
literally.
womanhood.
But she was so supportive. She's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
These are emotions that will come out, and it's okay now.
Yeah.
And so I just let it happen.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. It was beautiful. Just all the stress that I had felt. Guys keep things
bottled
locked
up.
up. I think that's one of the reasons guys have such high blood pressure and they die young.
Yeah.
Because of all the stress they feel.
Absolutely.
They don't cry. They're taught by society not to cry. No, it's not a bad thing that we got some masculine men out there. I like that.
But it's also not fair. Men's mental health needs to be talked about more.
I think so. I really believe so. And maybe there's a way to do it where it's around other men and they feel comfortable doing it. But it's definitely a thing that we need to address.
Yeah.
Because it just leads to an early grave.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was interesting. So February, so October, November, summer, January. So 4 months later, I went in. I'm like, I want injections. I'm like, okay. They tossed me a needle and a syringe. And they're like, you know how to do this? I'm all, yeah, I got this. They go, it goes in your leg. I'm like, nope, not going in my leg. I don't like pinning in my leg. Every time I pin in my leg, I hit a nerve and my teeth go numb.
Oh.
So we're going to put this shit in my booty.
Shit.
So, yeah, girl, I was a human pincushion for years doing steroids. And I would pin, and for anybody that doesn't know, pinning is injecting. It's like the industry term. I would pin every other day. It was like shoulder, butt, leg. And every time I'd do my leg, I'd hit a nerve or I'd hit an artery, not an artery, but a vein.
Shit
I'd get a squirter.
balls.
So I'm like, this estrogen's going in my booty. So I just started pinning the butt, and literally, girl, overnight feminization. I was like,
Wow.
whoa. Not to the point where you don't change bone structure.
Right.
But I could see the softening of the skin happening. When I say overnight, I mean, it wasn't literally
Right,
overnight.
right,
It was much faster. accelerated rate. Softening of the skin. Emotions were, of course, even stronger now. And then, of course, I said, I want to get on progesterone, too, because that softens skin a lot, too. And that is the devil's drug. Holy shit.
Yeah.
You poor women.
Yeah. Progesterone sucks.
Girl, at that spike, when you start that menstrual cycle,
Yep.
holy fuck. Because
No.
I wanted my dose upped more and more. I'm like, I want to be more like a woman.
Yeah.
And I want to soften the skin. And I want to accelerate the transition. I don't want 100 milligrams. I want 200 milligrams a day. I was a raging fucking bitch.
I was going to say, it's like, fuck you, grass. Like, it's like, I swear to God, like, I know how I feel right before my period, and I'm ready to kill everything, dude.
Girl, I like, trust me, this is the reason my wife was just like, I can't be around you. And
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. I was
She's like, love you, but I'm going to love you from afar.
literally, she's like, you are constantly on a period that you don't get.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
For not having a uterus, you are sure a hormonal premenstrual bitch 24/7. Yeah, so I feel for you. But it accelerated the transition quite a bit.
Yeah.
And what I learned is no matter how much you soften the skin or the fat deposits start shifting, you can't change bone structure.
Right.
And for all the trans women listening or people that know trans women, it will not change your face. You will not have a narrow jaw. You cannot. I had a girl in my filtered DMs today that I've starred. I need to respond to tonight. Somebody starting their transition. If I take birth control and my hormones, will narrow my shoulders and widen my hips? I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Unless you start this in your teenage years, you do not get an oxytocin release. It is not going to widen your hips and your shoulders. That's your bone structure from being a guy for 40 years of your life.
Right.
You can't change that. And no matter how many hormones you inject, you can't change the size of your hands. I'm very aware. We talked about that earlier.
Which I've been checking your hands out. They're not that manly.
Thanks.
Every time you lift them up, I'm like, they're not that manly.
I have short nails. I went through a phase with nails, girl. I thought that early in the transition, you have this need to integrate.
Yeah.
You want to go live your life and be you.
Right.
And this is where the media picks up on everything. And they see girls early in the transition. We got some weirdos in our community for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody does, but we're 1%
I mean, we got weirdos in our community too. So
it's like they're everywhere.
yeah.
But
There's always a kid that shits in the pool. That's what I say.
God.
So it's what I say.
Or in the shower. you
Yeah.
know.
Oh
And then
man.
You're just cheese
Not the
grating at that
stomp
point.
waffle. The waffle stomp.
The waffle stomp. I call it cheese grating. You call it the waffle
Yeah.
stomp. That's epic. But it's like you want to integrate. And I remember thinking, like, if I had nails, I had the
You got to work your way up, baby.
I had like Mimi's nails and your nail. Girl, I had those. I
Yeah.
had those long ass things. And I kept thinking, if I'm out in public and I put my hands down at the cash register, they'll know I'm a woman. It'll help them understand I'm a woman. And I'm like, what fucking delusional bubble was I living in, I call it my bubble of disillusionment.
Oh, Delulu. We love it.
Delulu. I just was in this bubble where if I got dressed up in female clothing in my transition early on and I had my nails and my makeup and it was COVID, so I had my mask on, they wouldn't see my wide, Popeye jaw. And I looked and I saw my eyes in the mirror. And I'd focus on this. I'm like, my eyes look feminine. That's good. And I'm wearing girl clothing. And I got nails. And I got heels on. Omitting the fact that I was 6'7" in heels. I'm like, that's girly. Okay, cool. And I remember this day. Priscilla would go everywhere with me in the beginning as my crutch. And I needed to kind of go explore on my own. And I was feeling good. I'd gone a couple places on my own. And I walked into our mall. It was the Lakeline Mall. And I was on my own. I told her I was going to go walk around and try to find a coat. I think I went to like JCPenney. And there was this kiosk with the perfume and the cologne. And I walk in, hair, makeup, mask, little cami top. And I didn't have any breast forms at the time. I had no breasts. I had these little itty bitty breast buds. And I pass this kiosk and there's this guy there handing out perfume and cologne. And I just hear this, sir, sir, sir. And I'm just oblivious to it, and he's like literally running me down, and I kind of look over because it's getting louder. I'm like, huh? And he's like, sir, do you want some cologne? And I looked at him and like, and for those that aren't on the video, I got this deer in the headlights look, and I'm like, what? And I'm looking around. I go, oh, fuck my life. He's talking to me.
Oh.
And remember that bubble of disillusionment I was talking about? It popped at that moment. And I panicked, like full sweat. And I looked at him like, no, thank you. And I reach for my phone and I start walking, but I'm like shaking at that moment. I'm like, he knows. And then I look around and I look at people and I see people looking at me. I'm like, oh fuck, everybody knows. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And there was this moment of revelation, like the bubble was popped. I wasn't, it's not that I was trying to fool anybody. I was just trying to blend in, you know,
Right.
and be me. But I'm like,
You're trying to be accepted.
that's literally what it was. I just wanted to be accepted and just to feel some sense of normalcy as who I was hoping to be. And I realized it's a fucking sham. And I started walking. I didn't even know which direction I was walking. I was walking away from the exit door, unfortunately, and I didn't know what to do. And I picked up my phone and I called Priscilla. And it went to voicemail. She must have had it on Do Not Disturb with Mia. And I just kept talking to nobody. And talking and hoping that somebody would think I'm on the phone because I didn't know what the fuck to do. And I turned around, I walked out as fast as I could, walked to the truck, and I cried for like 40 minutes in the truck.
Oh.
I didn't present female for almost a week. I didn't leave the house. I didn't do anything. I cried every day because there was the 1,000-mile journey being shown to me. And there I was again, this giant, I was probably 220, 230 at the time, desperately trying to lose muscle mass. And I've been called out. And I'm like, there's no way. I'll never finish this journey. It's not possible. And
this is about a year into your journey?
When was this? Let's see. Not quite a year. I didn't have my breast implants yet. It was probably March. March. I think it was after I came out. Oh no, it was before I came out. So girl, it was November, December. It was probably December or January. It was before I came out to the world on extra TV. So I was in the shower one day. It was probably a week later. And I still had a mirror in there because I had to shave my face back then. I wasn't done with electrolysis and laser. And I was in the shower and I was crying. And I looked in that silly little $10 mirror. It was suction cupped to the glass. And I had my hand on my heart because my heart was hurting. Not physically, but emotionally. And I looked in my eyes and I just, for some reason, I just said, I love me. And there was this big pause and I looked into my own soul. The eyes are the window to the soul. And I said it again. I said, I love me. And then I said it again and again and again and again until I believed it. And it was that moment. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't give a shit what the world thought at that moment. I'm like, I'm okay. I love me for me. I'm a great human. I'm a wonderful parent. I love me. I'm okay with this. And I've never looked back since then.
That's amazing. I love that. Just that moment of being able to have those affirmations to yourself. Mimi's over here crying. Mimi is over here bawling her eyes out. Just to be able to have that, I don't even know the word, just to be able to look at yourself, have those affirmations and confirmations to yourself and just say, you know what, I'm going to embrace me in every form, shape, no matter who sees me as this or not. This is me, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Going from being probably one of the most handsome guys I'd ever seen to some fucking ugly duckling in between. I had been told I was good looking since I was 5 years old.
Aww.
And to know that I wasn't anymore, that was hard. And then, but to be okay with it at that moment, that moment, honey, I was something. I'm still something in between, but I was really something in between back then. I was not a good looking guy anymore.
You're just a flower that's blooming.
I'm still in the process.
Yeah.
I'm very much in the process still. So that was a very pivotal moment for me. It was the life-changing moment right there.
It's a beautiful moment.
Thanks.
And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I really, really I'm sure people at home are going to just love that because people need to hear that, you know?
That's important.
Did the estrogen make your boobs grow a little bit?
It did. I had gynecomastia from a kid.
Okay.
It was interesting. I hated it growing up. As a guy, so I always wore dark shirts because you could see like my swollen nipples my whole life.
Gotcha.
I hated it as a guy.
Right.
And I think back on it now. I'm all, huh.
Now you can use it to your advantage.
Well, yeah, but I look at my child and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Why did I get gynecomastia naturally before steroids?
Right.
I'm like, I was growing breasts at 13 years old for some unknown reason. But that being said, the estrogen did. And even though I have breast implants, it's actually interesting. I got to go back and have them redone for a third time because my breasts have grown so much. I've got the internal mesh bra after my second revision, and now I've got like a ledge. So I'm like, yeah, it sucks, but it's whatever. I'm over it. They're mine. And
I had my implants taken out. I was like,
you did?
I had mine taken out in 2019
because
they were giving me, I don't want to say I had BII. I had a lot of the symptoms of breast implant illness, but I mean, I just went through a phase where my anxiety was so bad. My body just didn't feel right. I had scar tissue that was coming up underneath my left breast so much that my left breast was like this big, and they were so lopsided.
Like contraction.
Yeah,
oh my God.
My implant folded in half. So, and
Oh
started
my
growing
God.
scar tissue around it. And they didn't know that till they took them out, but it was so painful. And
Yeah.
I just was like, you know what? And I started looking really matronly because I had such big tits. I was like almost an E, and they just sagged and just didn't look good. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the itty bitty titty committee and fucking, and fucking, like as you get older, you want to look more natural. That's how I felt because I felt like it made me look matronly. So that's for my situation.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to do.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
I
for
totally
sure.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I, on my third go round, I don't want the high round profile where they're like bolt-ons.
They look great
Oh,
though.
thanks. They're very separate. I get that a lot. They're very separated, but it's because when my surgeon took his scalpel and cut me from here to here to save my life for my heart surgery, it severed all my pec muscles. And so most women that have open heart surgery have the same problem. My mom is so self-conscious. She's like, my boobs just go to the side and I hate it. So me, I'm very open about everything, and I get a lot of shit on social media for it, but I'm grateful to be alive. And the next go round, I want something much more natural and not so porn starish.
I love it. We all go through that phase though. Everybody. I mean, we grew up in the
you.
Pamela Anderson, fucking Carmen
Pamela
Electra,
Anderson. God, that
Jennifer
was my era.
McCarthy fucking era. And those bitches were bad, dude. Anna Nicole Smith, all of them,
Yes.
dude.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I had the biggest crushes on all of them.
Yeah, same.
They are so hot. They're still like,
Yeah. Just beautiful women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carmen doesn't fucking age.
No,
I'm tired
timeless.
of it. Yeah, no, I'm pissed off. Like, bitch, what are you doing?
Can we get some of whatever you're
Yeah,
drinking?
is it adrenochrome? What's going on?
There it is.
I got enough money now. What's up, bitch?
Can
No,
we
I'm
get
just
in on that?
kidding.
How does that go?
I'm totally kidding.
I love the fact that you even mentioned that. That's so funny.
Yeah, well, everybody accuses me and my husband of being in the Illuminati anyways, so might as well just fuel the fire.
I've gotten that. I had a sty in this eye, so I had some makeup done by somebody, and I think the brush had something on it.
Oh, that's the worst.
I still have I have a little one here that I just bury with concealer. I've been fighting it for 4 months. But I had to have this eyelid flipped over and they had to cut it out. I had a bruised eye.
Damn.
Social media's like, oh my God, she's in the Illuminati. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You're like, I had a fucking sty in my eye, you fucking idiot.
I had a procedure done and I don't have a sty anymore. And now my eye's black and blue. Like, oh, you're in the black eye club. I'm like, Jesus
People
Christ.
fucking think anything, dude. Speaking of procedures, what have you had done to feminize a little bit more?
Okay.
So when do you start deciding to get those? You got your boobs done.
Yep. That was May 2021. So I came out to the world. I had to get in front of the narrative. Because if somebody, my tattoos, they're not common.
Right.
I've got a big phoenix and dragon on my arm.
Right.
Everybody knew Gabe's tattoos.
Right.
Somebody called me out. I was screwed. I'd never be able to tell my story from my perspective. So I got in front of it, came out to the world on Extra TV in February 2021. And then it just snowballed from there in a good way.
Right.
So it was my decision at that point. I wanted to get my breasts done because I had these little itty bitties, and I'm like, well, breasts are female. I need those.
Yeah.
And again, I have to be careful how I say this, but I'm letting you go through the thought process that I had at the time, which
Of
is very
your
important.
journey. Yes. Which you're allowed to do.
And I think it's a common journey too, because I do coach some trans women. 99% of my fitness and nutrition clients are biological females. But I coach some trans women from time to time. And what I hear the most early in the transition, it's like, I want to get my breasts. I want to get my breasts. And that's, I think the male perspective, the male part of us, it's like that's one of the most feminine aspects of a woman are the breasts. And so I think as a transitioning woman, we liken that to femininity. But looking back, I would have done facial surgery first. If I could do it again, I would have done facial surgery first.
Yeah.
Because it solved, it helped the dysphoria in the beginning.
What does facial surgery consist of?
Oh, girl. It can range. Mine, I did everything all at once. And
Right.
from what I heard, and I'm glad I did it, you only do it once. You don't got to go back for 1,000 surgeries. A lot of girls will get their nails done, and then they'll do these other things slowly. Knock me out, do me once.
Yeah.
And like, it was major surgery. So
Oof.
I had 2 breast augmentations because my breast dropped so much the first time. So I was running. I lost so much muscle mass. There was no way to anticipate it. So December, I went back and had them done again. I'd had a hair transplant December 2020. So I wouldn't be bald anymore. I got to do one more because all the surgeries, the anesthesia, my hair's fallen out again. But facial surgery, literally, they cut me from back here. It was Dr. Peter Raphael in Plano, Texas. He's amazing, by the way. He cut me, like, remember the movie Face Off with John Travolta and Nick Cage? Just think of that moment when they peel the face down. So behind the ear to behind the ear, they cut you right across your forehead in the hairline. And then he did a type 3 brow shave on me because my brow bump as a guy, it was huge. Girls don't have a brow bump. Like some girls have a little one, but guys, when testosterone hits the system, you get a brow bump. And he had to cut mine off. So he cut my entire brow off, put it on a bench, shaved it down flat.
Wow.
Stuck it back on me and, I don't know, plates or something.
Is it crazy how fucking plastic surgery is so barbaric?
It is. It's very barbaric, but it's so precise at the
I
same
love
time.
it.
Like,
I love it.
It's a skill. I'll talk about, remind me to talk about the skill and insurance and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I paid for all my surgeries out of pocket, and there is a reason.
Yeah.
Then cheek implants went in. They gave me the higher cheekbones because guys don't have naturally high cheekbones. Nose revision. I had a rhinoplasty. And then he cut a portion out of my chin. He took the bone out from underneath my teeth and hair, and then he squished my chin together to give me the V-line.
Wow.
Trachea shave to get rid of the Adam's apple, which now I've had
Get
3.
all this at once?
Yeah, that was all at once. And then a hairline advancement. So he scalped me, to say the least.
Yeah.
And like he takes a laser and he pulls the scalp back, and then he cuts off a section of forehead at the front, and he just pulls that hair forward to get rid of the receding hairline. The guy's
Holy
receding
shit.
hairline.
Yeah.
And then he stitches you back up and like
Sends you home to
bye,
heal.
have
Yeah.
fun. And
Yeah.
so-
Happy healing.
well, girl, I was on Dilaudid.
Oh, I bet.
For the next several days. It's that bad. I have no recollection of the first week.
Oh,
I
I'm
have
sure.
flashes. I can tell you the one thing I have. You go with the night nurse. They send you to a recovery facility, and you can see family the moment you come out, but then they take you to a recovery facility. You're there with the nurse on your IVs and stuff.
Yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night, and my eyes are swollen shut. I woke up in the middle of the night, eyes swollen shut, no idea where I'm at. I thought I missed my surgery.
Oh.
And a friend of mine, Bella, was with me, and my mom was there. Not at the night nurse, but that's who was going with me to go into surgery.
Yeah.
And I'm scrambling around for my phone. I'm like, Bella, I missed my alarm didn't go off. And I stood up and I bolt for the door.
Oh.
I had the catheter in still.
Oh no.
Girl, that thing yanked me like a choke chain.
Oh shit.
My she stick, I thought, I'm like, I want gender reassignment surgery, but this is not the way.
Oh fuck. God, catheters are no joke either, dude.
Girl, it tugged. I'm like, oh,
Dude.
God, what is that?
Oh.
So, my night nurse is like, Gabbi, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my god.
And then I don't remember anything after that. I'm sure I went back to bed, but that's,
Yeah.
that's the glimpse of what I had going on.
Damn it.
But I had that done. I went back and I had my nose. I still need to have redone a third time, unfortunately. I went back a second time.
I think it's so perfect. Even your side profile is beautiful.
Thank you. Maybe I'm just dysphoric
Let me see.
about
Turn.
it. I think it's the hanging columella. I want that. And that's what I had told Peter in the first place, my surgeon.
I think it looks great.
Thank you.
It gives you character too.
then I hear that a lot, and I think I'll just keep it then.
Yeah.
But I had my nose broken in Turkey when I was in WWE, and it collapsed all the cartilage on the side. So I can't breathe out of the side. And when I had a face and a neck lift in December last year.
Oh, I can't wait to get a face and a neck lift. That's next on my list.
I got to send you to a guy. It's not, my surgeon did a great job, but I discovered the vertical facelift afterwards.
I have a Dr. Narim does them, and that's who I want to go to.
Wait, what's his name?
Dr. Narim.
That might be the same guy I was looking at.
Yeah, he's amazing.
The vertical facelift is the way to go. I had the old school facelift.
Yeah.
Which I had lost so much weight. I'm 100. It was 190.
Your face looks tight though.
It's because of the facelift.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, your face looks tight.
I had 6 or 7 rolls here of just, it was horrendous, girl, of all this loose skin from losing all my weight. So I did that December, and I got another nose revision. But unfortunately, we pulled the splints out a week later. It was too early. And by the time I drove home that day, 3 hours later, it had collapsed again.
Oh, no.
So I have to go back in. I haven't been able to breathe out of this side since 2011.
Wow.
But I had my voice done in May of this year.
How do they do the voice?
There's 2 methods. Dr. Toby Mayer did my voice. And the reason I went with him is because you can talk the same day.
Wow.
Yeah. And he has a proprietary method that he doesn't tell anybody what he does. I know what it is because I insisted I know.
Right.
And I signed a deal saying I wouldn't talk. But he goes in, you can still see the incision here because it's not quite a year and it's still kind of red. So my first trachea shave was here. When I did my face and neck lift, I did another trach shave because it wasn't quite gone all the way. And then Dr. Toby Mayer did another one when he did my voice, and now there's nothing left. There's no cartilage there at all.
Yeah.
But he does something that lets you talk the next day. The Korean method is where they go in through your mouth. Instead of having to cut you open right here, they go in through your mouth, and they cut and resplice your vocal cords.
Wow.
So you can still kind of hear a little bit of bass in my voice, like the timbre in my voice. If I don't try, I kind of get down like this area, like the morning voice. And so...
I mean, I can do that too.
I got this sultry voice that gets kind of deep. But I mean, Dr. Toby Mayer told me, he said, going in, he's like, there's a 50-50 chance because you've had trachea shaves down here before. You got a lot of scar tissue. I'm going to do what I usually do, and there's a 50-50 chance. So I got a bump in the pitch. It's not perfect, but I'll probably go back and get the Korean method done, but then I can't talk for a month.
Oh my goodness.
You can't talk for a month. And that's why I'm like, I'm building a business. I'm coaching hundreds and hundreds of women with fitness and nutrition, and I need to be able to talk.
Yeah.
I need to be able to talk now.
Yeah.
This is my business. This is their lives.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let these women down. So I did his method. I could talk the next day, and it worked out good. So those are the surgeries so far. I've had 5. I had 2 breast dogs, face, voice, neck, and facelift.
When are you thinking about doing gender reassignment? Is that something you do want to do?
It is. Yeah.
I heard that's a pretty brutal process.
Yeah. It's a big surgery, and they want you off work for 6 weeks. Because of all the dilation, and there's just recovery that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, you need that long.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a place where I can take 6 weeks off. But I do know the doctor. I want to use the surgeon. It's Dr. Blue Bonnet, NYU.
Blue Bonnet.
Yeah. And so.
I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. She did a couple friends of mine, and she uses robotics in her surgery to minimize scarring.
Wow.
And she uses this method. It's the perennial pull through. So you get some lubrication, but not like a normal natural born female. But she's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is as soon as I had opted to go with her, I was relaxed on contacting her because she wasn't super well known or anything. An influencer on TikTok used her and posted about it. And I'm like, oh, shit, she used her. I better go get on her list. And it's a 2-year wait list for my fucking consult.
Goodness.
Just to have a consult with her. So my consult isn't until 2025.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I'm planning on one more hair transplant to kind of fill in up here. It's really gotten thin up here from all my surgeries. And then I have to, for me to feel comfortable in my skin, I need to get a fat transfer. I don't want a Kim Kardashian ass. But I need the proportions to be more natural.
Right.
I've got a narrow pelvis. That's everybody born a male is going to have that.
Yeah,
I've
for
got
sure.
wide shoulders, and I wear a shapewear. So like I've got hip pads on. It makes me feel and what's interesting, the way I get treated when I wear a little tiny hip pad, on each, like the little shapewear,
Yeah.
I get treated so much different.
It's crazy, right?
Stupid. Like how different I get treated. People are much more inviting.
That's
And
so sad.
if I can just mimic the shapewear I have on right now, I'd be happy. But in order to do that, I still have some muscle mass to lose. So I'm as lean as I can be, but I'm trying to get down to like the 180s.
Right.
And then the process, I got to pack on like 40 pounds of fat.
Yeah.
So
So get it sucked out of you. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's a process where I'm still losing muscle in this game right now. It's not a
definitely
game. It's a journey.
Definitely been a journey for you. And I hope what anybody can take, one of the things that somebody can take away from this beautiful podcast that we've done is be kind to people, because you never know where they are in their journey.
Yeah.
Like that's so important, just smiling at somebody and saying you're beautiful could have like really changed your trajectory in that day that you had in the mall. Instead of that dude running up to you saying sir,
Yeah.
if he would have said ma'am, can you imagine how you would have felt?
Oh, completely. And not that I expect anyone to ever do that, because they're going to see what they're going to see.
Yeah.
And it's a confusing world as it is.
Yeah.
We don't know what pronouns to use half the time with people, and it's hard. But just like you said, a smile, girl, that changed lives.
Yeah.
Somebody, I would smile at somebody, and then they'd smile back, not being fearful of me because I didn't know what the hell I was or what I was doing. It changed everything.
Yeah. I love that.
It's a good world out there when we want it to be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about what you do and where people can sign up to get work by you and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I do online fitness and nutrition coaching. I've got an entire team of coaches underneath me. It's my business. I'm the owner. I have coached 1,500 people to success in the last 13 years. Go ahead.
No, sorry.
No.
That was my ADD. I was thinking, but go ahead and finish.
The crazy part, like I said earlier, is 99% of my clients are biological females.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I was going to say, you actually said something the other day. You were on a live and I was kind of eavesdropping in just to kind of get a feel for you. And right now I have been working with an online coach for the past 2.5 years, T Miller Fit. Shout out. Love you. She has done wonders for my body. But you said something the other day that I found that was profound. And you were like, you don't need tons, and you don't need I think it was last night. You said you don't need a gram of protein per pound.
No.
And that was like music to my ears, because my body has a hard
you
time.
do like 130 grams a day.
Yes. And I'm like, I'm over it. Like I don't, the high carb thing, I don't like doing it either. Like I feel so much better when I'm fasting and like doing a keto type thing, and so when you said that, I was like, maybe I need to talk to Gabbi.
It's so interesting. Yeah. So high protein diets in every case lead to CKD, which is chronic kidney disease.
Yes, that's what you said.
Yeah. And so there's this myth floating around that you need a gram of protein per pound of body weight.
Yeah.
And so I got a girl that's your height and I got somebody that weighs 200 pounds. That's a lot of protein to shove down your throat.
Dude, it's so much. The amount of food I have to eat every fucking day.
What an asinine thought when we look at why would we do that? And so it's not your fault. It's this bro science that's floating around. It's influencers who are certified personal trainers or not certified personal trainers spreading things they heard. And this is where the scientist in me comes out, because I put my nose in published medical data for close to an hour every day.
Yeah.
I do a ton of research because my clients expect certainty. This is the reason I've coached so many clients to success. And what we find is it's more about your lean body mass. Mm-hmm. So you got a percentage of body fat on you, and you got a percentage of muscle mass. It's more about the lean muscle mass that's on you that you need to support with protein. Protein's critical for so many functions in the body.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates are not.
Right.
Even though you're going to hear people say, well, glucose is important. I mean, it plays a role.
Yeah.
Your body burns energy in 3 stages. At first, it goes for sugars, which is glucose. Then it goes to glycogen, which is your store in your liver. And then it goes to fats, and it goes to ketones after that. And so once the glucose and the glycogen is out of your system, you go to ketones, which are exponentially more efficient at energy, which is why you feel better when you do keto.
What, isn't that like autophagy? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, and actually, I say this a lot. The correct pronunciation is autophagy.
Autophagy. Okay, yeah. I didn't know.
Everybody says autophagy.
Yeah.
And it's not, like I said, it's not your fault. But it's because people say autophagy, it's actually autophagy.
Yeah.
And that's a phenomenon. It's incredible. When you get to It can start in the 16-hour mark. More than likely, it'll take a day or two to see true autophagy. Now you got me saying it. True autophagy. But it's what happens, we get these things called folded proteins.
Right.
And think of it as corrupt computer code in your cells, in the mitochondria. And those folded proteins basically explode in autophagy. And it makes room for brand new proteins to come fill in where that corrupt code was. It's like a defragmentation process on a hard drive.
Yeah.
And there's, we can just put that fresh protein there, that fresh protein there. And the body starts to heal itself from incredible things like autoimmune diseases, funguses, bacteria floating around in your system.
Absolutely.
So I live in a 16-8 window. And recently I've actually been experimenting with OMAD, 1 meal a day,
Yeah.
which I love.
The warrior diet.
Literally. And when you look at the data over the last 10 years, that is what's been proven to work. It's OMAD and 16-8.
I love 16-8. That's what I try to do.
Girl, it's amazing. And if you're doing keto in the process, you don't have hunger cravings the way that you would if you're eating carbohydrates. It releases ghrelin, a hunger hormone, into your system. Every time you have carbs and sugars, as soon as your stomach empties, you're hungry.
Yeah.
And so when you're in keto, you don't get that. It's a very small amount of ghrelin released into the system.
Yeah.
So my clients, less than 50% of my clients do keto. I always leave it up to you to decide what you want to do, because if it doesn't align with you, or you're not mentally aligned with it, there is this incredible phenomenon called the placebo effect. The nocebo effect is the opposite. So you don't want to do something, you've got a disposition towards it, it's not going to work well for you. The brain will release hormones and chemicals to basically slow your process down. But again, less than half my clients do keto, and I've got this team I built underneath me. A lot of master's degrees on my team, PhDs on my team. I have the director of public health from a specific state on my team. So we've built this, and the difference in what I do is I always say anyone can hand you fitness and nutrition. You've bought into it before, I'm sure. Everybody listening's probably bought a fitness or nutrition program at some point.
From somebody.
Paid for a personal trainer or nutritionist.
But what works for them doesn't necessarily work for you.
Right, exactly.
It's not a one size fits all.
No, and there's no cookie cutter in what I do. Everything is 100% custom for you. Custom nutrition, custom workouts, your meals. I give you 3 to 4 meals or 3 to 4 recipes per meal that are all custom for you. And my girls, they work out at home a lot of the time. Some of them work out at the gym. It's whatever you want to do. But the big difference is I look at behavioral patterns. I've been studying behavioral patterns for over a decade. And when I hand you something that's got good science in it, and a lot of people will do that. Like I said, you've bought these programs before. Why do we start and get to the goal and then rebound?
Right.
Or why do we start and then life gets in the way? Or I hear this a lot, life gets chaotic.
Right.
It's behavioral patterns. It's not that the science is bad. It's that we have these loops that we get into and we can't see them half the time.
Yeah.
Because our heads are in the weed with life, or we're head down trying to grind. We don't realize that there are these cyclical, these strong neural pathways. And so what I have a course I created called BPM. It's behavioral pattern modification. Every one of my clients goes through it. They work with me. And I basically create these new positive neural pathways to replace these old behavioral patterns with new positive behavioral patterns. And that's why they're so damn successful with what they do.
No, that shit works. I have a therapist named Glenn who does that, and that's how
Glenn.
Glenn's amazing. If you ever want to talk to him, you can. He does FaceTimes and stuff like that, but he reprograms your brain within the neural pathways.
Oh,
and
I
stuff
love
like
that.
Yeah, no, he's amazing.
Oh, I'd love to talk to him.
Oh, Glenn's.
I'm a sponge when it comes to that stuff.
Oh,
Tell me
he's
more.
fucking.
Tell me more.
Dude, he's written a few books. Like, he's amazing.
Oh, how cool.
He'll be coming on the podcast soon.
Oh, I'm definitely listening to that one
Yeah,
for sure.
No, he's great. No, I love your approach. I love what you're doing for people, and I just love that you just want to help people. And I think your story is so beautiful.
Thank you so much. And if there's anybody out there that needs help, my website's coachgabbi.com, or you can just follow me on TikTok at Gabbi Tuft.
It's Gabbi.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. Yeah, it's not the typical spelling. It's Gabbi.
Yes, love that. Well, Gabbi, thank you for coming on this podcast. I am for you to have came on here and shared your story with us. And just, I loved you before, but I love you even more now.
I think the feeling's mutual.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bunnie. This has been so much fun.
Dude, getting to sit in your energy is just awesome, and you're even more awesome in person than
thanks.
online. But if you guys are not following Gabbi, follow you where on your Instagram,
TikTok. It's all Gabbi Tuft. All the handles are the same.
Yeah, you guys go follow her. You will not be disappointed, I promise. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Dumb Blonde. I will see you guys next week. Bye.